God bless America. Ten viewers on the regular stream. What's wrong with you guys? Drop like and sub. Kamala low. Trump high. Fourth. Donut Lord. Jeremy Kane. Jola fan account. Okay. So who's smart? Wait a second. Wait a second. I need to make sure I have my Discord notification ready. I need to write down some facts about trans. Some trans facts. By the way, with January 6th, I actually did not realize how bad it really was. Like, I know it was bad, but I did not realize how bad it was. As far as the police and what injuries they sustained, the brain damage, the traumatic brain injuries, I never looked at the reports. I just, you know, I knew it was bad, I knew it was violent. I kind of shut off politics for a few years once Biden got elected to some extent. So, interesting. Is the short stream live? Yeah, it is. So, quick question, what happened to you? What happened to me? I drank too much estrogen and soy. Is Trump right to pardon violent Gen Sixers? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Discord, let's say alive now. There's no one waiting in there for me. Perfect. Halo J, reign supreme. I agree. Thank you. Thank you for bringing up Halo J. I want to talk about Halo J every day of my life. When far left riders tried to storm the White House and nearly burned down St. John's Church. Okay, call in. Wait. Stormed. Wait, tried to burn down what? Nearly burned down. When Trump wanted to shoot the protesters. It's really stupid too because there's radical groups called like Boogaloo Boys and also a couple other groups where their entire goal is social chaos. So we have evidence. I should have this article on hand actually. Far right activists set fire at BLM rally because a lot of times it'll be someone who is Yep, Boogaloo Boy. The exact name I brought up. A lot of fires are set at these protests by radical far-right extremists. Ivan Harrison Hunter, a Texas right-wing extremist, bragged about helping to set fire and then shot 13 rounds at a building. So a lot of the buildings that are burnt at these protests are not even associated with the protests. The things you claim Antifa does to the right on January 6th is what the right actually does to the left, by the way. I gotta keep that. That's going in my links. Okay. It's going in my links of how to respond to really dumb comments. All right, let me open up my Google Voices in case if someone calls. So Donald Trump, oh god, dude, that's crazy. They shut down communications between our health organizations. So like I said, the bird flu is gonna go really bad. 25% tariffs are going into effect. Okay, There's a couple of facts I want to get down, and you guys need to help me. So when is the official time or the official day that Trump's tariffs are going into place? Do we have that? Hashtag rap god. True, true, true. What do you mean? What do you mean what? February 1st. Thank you, Green Sky. So February 1st, is that across the board tariffs? They're going to be going into effect on February 1st then? And it's on Mexico and Canada, right? When do Trump's tariffs on Mexico and Canada go into effect? And is it on every good imported? So we had Panama also notify the UN. Panama notified the UN of the US threatening to conquer them. So that happened as well. It's 25% tariffs on on Mexico and Canada, right? Both countries. Is it across the board on every good? The intellectuals are in the YouTube Shorts chat. Kamala and Joe lost. We just had Trump in office for 4 years. Nothing bad happened, I swear. We had Biden in for 4 and 2 major conflicts. Make it make sense. Oh, God, dude. We are fighting. I've been looking at Trump tweets, okay? I've been trying to find one tweet or one executive order that makes any logical sense, and I cannot find one that's not complete bullshit. It's actually damaging to my brain. Like, it's painful. I'm trying my best to find something that has some foundation in reality. We had this happen, so this was interesting. By the way, when you talk about true courage and true strength, this is courage and I hate Cheerios. Do you see this Cheerio right here? I've been eating Cheerios all night. So this happened. When you talk about true strength and courage, I think this person put that on display here. I guarantee they're getting thousands of death threats right now. And Representative Mike Collins, this person giving this sermon should be added to the deportation list. Because of course, in Trump's America, if you say anything bad about dear leader, you should be deported. But this was really interesting.
I ask you, in the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families.
This is the posture of really weak beta males, by the way, unironically.
Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper...
How dare you talk about the working class and God's children, dude? We are not here to talk about God's children. Why would you say the actual words of Christ? J.D. Vance and his venture capitalist funders and his Silicon Valley tech bullshit bros, the brawligarchs, they don't have time to care about human beings, bro. Come on. Why are we talking about this? Jesus was about money, bro. Jesus was about flash. Jesus was about, making money. Lamborghinis. Jesus was about strippers. That's what Jesus cared about, bro. Playboy lifestyle. Jesus did not care about immigrants or the poor. Jesus was a raging nationalist. He believed in borders.
Documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, Wadara.
And by the way, every single word she says is 110% factual. A sitting member of Congress calling for the deportation of a bishop who's asking Trump to show mercy to those in the country who are afraid. We are in a dark moment in history, or in this country and history, and have abandoned our founding principles. God have mercy on us. Very true. We really did abandon every founding principle that we have in America. And it's due to the propaganda state largely, but also people are okay with the bad things that Trump believes in. She had no place bringing politics into the church. If you think what she said is political, you are the problem, by the way. If you think anything she said was political, you are the problem. And I want you to call in to my show right now and tell me why. You are not the problem, okay? That's the goal. Christian women love Trump. Donald Trump talking about communion, bro. Have you talked about hyperbole? Everything's hyperbole, bro. Everything's hyperbole. Nothing's true.
At a very sudden. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you had said that you knew you thought the government knew what was
Dude, Donald Trump responds like he just stepped. Dude.
happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about 1 day into the administration because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only
They. Okay, remember when Trump says they are not telling you. When he says nothing about this, remember this, okay? They are not telling you. Trump is the government now. You can't just keep on alluding to the deep state and they anymore, okay? You are in the presidency again, and you've been the establishment. But still, you can't keep alluding to the government's keeping secrets from you. You have every part of government under your authoritarian control at this point. You have loyalists in every part of government. There is no more like they.
with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to?
Yeah, no one's reporting it, although it got 24/7 news coverage for like 2 weeks because Americans were having panic attacks because they want to be so dramatic.
Say something about
just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think will work diligently to
By the way, drop a like on the shorts stream. Drop a like on the shorts. I might have to go back to a different title if we don't get any callers. We need a caller.
understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones, and it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk.
Why the ominous music, bro?
Call from
Whoa.
Jeffrey. To accept, press 1. To send a
I don't know about
voicemail,
that, bro.
press 2.
I don't know about that. Howdy.
Hello?
What's up?
Is this the thing I saw on YouTube?
Nope. It's Pizza Hut. Oh wait, he thought I was serious. Oh, okay. Goodbye, young man.
And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor. You're going to say.
I was going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it. And
Call
Hello.
Yeah, is this Jola politics?
Yeah, it's Jola Talks Politics. How are you?
I'm okay, buddy. I'm just an old man, and I don't know why this popped up on my phone, but I'm watching you, and I'm just kind of like scratching my head, like you really believe everything you say?
I believe in nothing. The world is fake. We're in a simulation.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's all I'm trying to figure out here. I mean, so just about any basically you can bark and say whatever you want, and I can bark and say whatever I want.
Hey, man, whatever you want to talk about, go ahead.
Well, I know you're the ones talking about Trump for a while here and stuff, and I'm just curious why nobody talked about Biden the way things really were. And then I'm not saying Trump is perfect, believe me. I'm really not. I had a business. I'm retired now, but I had a business back when he was in office, and yeah, did I like everything he did? No, I don't think anybody did. But I did like that I was able to pay as a small sole proprietorship. I was able to pay my taxes. I was able to have money to pay my men, and then I even had a few jingles to take the wife out to dinner afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the world got really messed up from COVID.
Well, yeah, you can blame COVID to a certain extent. You know, and I don't even know if you'll live long enough. I know I'm 70. I ain't never going to live long enough to see the results of this. But I think someday we're all going to be pleasantly surprised on what really happened to COVID.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, seriously, the way they shut everything down. Listen, I did plumbing and heating and renovation. I renovated medical buildings, okay? The doctor's office had people in it. I got called to homes that I had to go. Hey, you didn't have water. You'd want me to come and get it going again, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my job was insanely busy, like it was to the day I retired. I mean, we need more guys in the trades, but I don't really push it on anybody because it busted me up. It's really hard to walk around now, you know, from all those years of work. But that's it. All I'm saying is, I was so much more comfortable and my wife's a Democrat. She is through and through Democrat. I mean, we almost I'm married 50 years, and every other day we're getting divorced because she sees a picture of Trump on the TV and starts yelling at me. So the world's really screwed up, even relationships.
Yeah, I mean, people have a different view of what the world is and what happens in the world. I mean, Trump pardoning those January 6 guys that beat the crap out of cops leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth.
Well, you know, not every one of those people beat the crap out of the cops.
Nobody pardoned the ones that did, though, right? He could have not pardoned the ones that did. He could have pardoned the ones that didn't, if that was the goal.
Why didn't they arrest the people? And I don't remember. I remember when the whole country was having these mass protests, quote, peaceful protests, quote, unquote. I don't get it. Nothing, I mean, it was like no rule of law there, and nothing happened. But, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And you know what? I wasn't there for the Trump rally. I almost went. Glad I didn't.
So during the George Floyd protest, around 15,000 Americans were arrested.
Oh, yeah, that's unbelievable. You think every one of them broke the law?
Yeah, but they were arrested. There were 0 federal pardons done for anyone that got arrested for any protest for like Democrat causes. But also, just in general, like beating up the cops, pardoning those guys that beat cops to the point where 17 cops, I think, or at least 10 cops had traumatic brain injuries. 1 cop kept on getting strokes, ended up committing suicide. 3 others commit suicide. Others died of other reasons, and some were disabled.
That's a normal fatality of cops. I hate to say it. I had
no, but they beat the cops' heads in with lead pipes. Okay, they used lead pipes to beat the cops' heads in, beat them with their own riot shields, and stomped them.
Why didn't they show that on the videos? They didn't.
Because the news that you watch, they beat the head in of a cop. I can find a video right now. I can find a video right now of them beating up cops. I can literally find a video right now to show you.
Well, I'd love to see it, and that might just be one. Like I started to say, one guy.
Are you saying the cops are lying? Do you not support our law enforcement? You think it's okay to beat up cops if they're doing it for Trump? Like I just don't get that.
Protect thy ass.
Can you not admit? Can you just admit it was bad Trump did that? It's bad that Trump pardoned cop beaters. Can you just admit that?
Well, Well, I don't know the circumstances. Like
They
he
beat
said, it had
cops
to
with
be
lead
laid
pipes.
down
If
in
that
front
was
of
true,
them.
okay, if they did beat cops with lead pipes and stomp them and use their riot shields to beat the crap out of them, is Trump wrong for pardoning those people?
What about all the people Biden?
Can you
Biden
say
just
Trump did
pardoned? I
one
think he
thing wrong?
pardoned
Can you
them.
say one thing Trump did wrong? Can you just admit that that was not good that he did that?
I told you in the beginning. I told you in the beginning of this conversation. I didn't like everything the man did. I didn't
So
love
that's
the
one.
man.
Is that an
Okay?
example? Is that an example of something you did not like that Trump did?
I don't know. You know what? It's I don't think anybody with a brain would really say anything about that. I can't believe that you're so.
Is that one
I mean,
example of one thing you did not like that Trump did, that he pardoned cop beaters, or are you okay with people beating up cops?
Oh hell no! I'm not okay with that.
Okay, so that's one thing you disagree with Trump on, right? Is pardoning the violent offenders from the guys that beat up cops. Pardoning the, oh, you don't agree with Trump on that point.
And any specific thing that I like to say, and I've always done this my whole life. I used to have a bunch of guys working for me. One guy coming.
You realize
around
you look.
another.
Do you realize? Okay, you said you're almost 70. Can you be a grown adult for a second? Can you be an adult? Can you be an adult?
Both sides of the story.
Can you be an adult and accept if this was true? I'm saying if it were true. If it were true, would you disagree with Trump on pardoning them? If it's true that they beat up cops.
Again, I've never seen a Democrat answer a hypothetical.
Buddy, are you a grown man or are you a child? Are you 12 right now? How old are you? 70? You still can't do this? No wonder your wife wants to divorce you all the time. Can you answer one question?
This is what you do. This is
no,
what you
seriously.
do. You
Okay, can you? Yeah, now you're crying. Now you're crying, right? Now you're crying. Now you're crying. I'll put a video right on the screen right now. Oh, look at these cops. This is great. They are not getting, and nothing's happening to these. You are supporting the cops being beat up because you love Trump. You worship him. You don't care about the cops. You don't care about the cops. No, you cannot even admit that he did that he's wrong about pardoning them. He's wrong about those pardons. Can you just say that's like one thing he did wrong? Like,
you know, I could find one thing about everybody.
Can you just say one thing he did wrong? Are you in love with him? Are you in love with him?
Oh yes, yes. I even do anal with the man. What the hell's wrong with you?
Why are you going to that? Do you realize how weak it is that you can't answer one question? You realize how weak that is?
I
am challenging your manhood, by the way. I am challenging your manhood. I want you to answer one question truthfully and directly. Truthfully and directly.
Listen to yourself for an hour and don't.
Truthfully and directly, can you answer a question? You're avoiding. You're crying right now. I need you to answer one question directly. Do you disagree with Trump pardoning people that beat up cops?
I knew this was going to happen when I called you. You came up on me about a month ago, and I just flicked through it, and then you came up again. I'm listening to you.
You knew that you were going to come in and be a pathetic baby. You knew you were going to be pathetic when you called in. You planned that. Why would you plan that?
People know you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Now you're insulting me because you can't answer one question.
Well, that's what you did to me.
I'm asking you to answer one question. You said you disagree with Trump on tons of things, all right? And I'm asking you if it's bad that he pardoned people that beat up cops. That seems like a pretty easy one.
Do you think Biden wasn't losing it? Do you think he had dementia or something?
Yeah, I think I wish Biden would not have ran again. Okay, now can you say that the cop beaters were bad?
Answer my question.
Yeah, I think he was losing at the end. I think he should not run again.
Yeah,
I disagreed with him running again.
Won?
Yes.
If he won,
I was saying that. I said that the first time he ran. Yeah, and Trump is too.
Yeah, okay.
But like, yeah, I don't like Biden. I'm not happy with Biden staying in. That was an ego move. But can you agree with me that beating up cops is bad?
It's totally bad. But I don't.
So Trump pardoning.
I don't like saying yes, an absolute yes or an absolute no to something I've seen contradictory things on. And there's a lot of contradictory things.
Do you think that cops? Do you think cops will let the protesters in?
Why did Biden pardon all the people on that J6 committee?
Because Trump said he was gonna come in and target them. He pardoned cops as well.
If they did nothing wrong, he couldn't have proved it, right? Just like they couldn't prove he did anything wrong.
He can still weaponize the deal. Well, they did prove he did things wrong, but he can. And this is what happens with you guys. Can you answer one question? Is it bad to beat up cops?
I already answered that.
So it's bad that Trump pardoned people that beat up cops if they beat up cops. Okay. We can agree on that, right?
Like I said, I don't know all the
brother. Hypothetically, if it's true that they beat up cops, if it is true that they just beat up cops with lead pipes and Trump pardoned them, is that a bad thing that Trump pardoned them if they beat up cops with lead pipes?
That's like me saying you beat your wife. Should I hate you?
No, this
I
is
don't know if you
verified in video, and
I don't know.
also they pled guilty as well because there's overwhelming evidence
yes,
in videos and surveillance
yes.
of them
and
doing this.
watch TV. Keep this number. Watch this. Watch what some of the people that got out. Listen to what they have to say, and then tell me you feel the same.
If you beat
Call me
up
back.
cops, I think you're bad. If you beat up police officers, I think that's a bad thing. I'm sorry you disagree.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Your
I
loyalty
wish I
just
could
lies
tell-
with the king. Your loyalty just lies with him. That's the issue.
Well, I give everybody a chance. I mean, let's face it. The condition that we're in today, including the world.
No,
I mean,
you're no.
when
You're just no. You're weak. You're weak. You have nothing to stand on. It's
I'm
okay.
weak. I'm weak.
Yeah.
When Trump was in office, we were not at war.
Are you
Is that
crying right
right?
now?
Is that
You
right?
know that 4 times more troops died under Trump's watch than under Biden? 4 times more troops died under Trump's watch?
Were we at war?
Oh, bro. Yes,
yeah,
we
you
were at
talk about
conflict.
me. I
We had
don't wanna
increasing
answer your
conflicts.
question.
We had increasing conflicts globally. But yeah, Trump had 4 times more troops die under his watch. If you care about our troops at all, but
Again,
you probably don't.
I didn't ask who got killed or
I care about our
anything.
troops. I care about our troops.
Well,
We had more conflict under
I
Trump.
do
We had
too.
more conflict. We did
I
have more
do too.
conflict under
All
Trump.
I have all families that's in the service and was.
Well,
my
you should
son-in-law
respect
died.
them by taking their time to
So-
form an opinion.
Don't tell me I don't respect our servicemen.
Then stop
You don't
using
know me.
stop using political reasons to like say Trump had no wars when he increased conflict globally.
Trump increased conflict globally.
Yes, versus Biden, we were involved in more conflict under Trump, which is why we had 4 times more service people die under Trump than under Biden.
No, see, again, you don't look at the whole picture. I think you're the one that's a crybaby. Actually, you hide behind your mommy. You're a crybaby that hides. That's you.
I'm right here saying
the.
the facts. I'm right here saying the facts. You're making personal insults again because you have nothing to stand on.
Listen, you come back at me with bullshit. Why can't I come back at you with bullshit?
I just brought up the numbers, bro. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Your numbers are not true. They aren't. I will call you back with a list of these 9 guys that got beat over the head and killed with pipes. I'm going to look that list up. See, I can't fact check on the phone because you can't believe everything that comes up on Google or anywhere. You got to really research things today. That's another thing. Well, hey, I feel bad for you youngsters today, and I hate to sound like an old.
Just because
fucker,
you don't
but
know
I
what's
am.
going on, Grandpa, doesn't mean everyone does. I'm just saying. Just because you're confused doesn't mean we are.
Listen, I watch, and it isn't just Fox. I watch the news. I read. I've been very.
Are you a Foxy
interested in
grandpa?
world news my whole life. When I was young, and you had to read to learn, life was so much simpler back then.
Yeah, because you weren't being
and you know
scared
what?
from media pundits that you believe now, because you believe anything you see on the internet now. What changed? Why do you believe anything on the internet now? Do you think
Well,
that cops
apparently
let
you
people in the
do.
Capitol? Do you think cops like let people in, or like they let people in the Capitol on January 6th?
Well, I did see videos of that.
So
I
what
saw them
happened
lined up
was,
against- I saw them lined up against the walls, waving them by, like telling them to keep moving, keep moving. Tell me you didn't see that.
so do you know why they were doing that? Like, why do you think they were doing that, or why do you think that video
Well, I'm sure
came out?
I'm sure you're going to make up your story. Go ahead, tell me why.
Well, no. Okay, so the
Mr.
facts of the
Smarty.
case. So the Proud Boys were the first people in or not the White House, sorry, the Capitol. They broke in a window, okay? Then they breached the Capitol with, I think the cops were outnumbered like 1,000 people to 1. So at that point, they're already in the Capitol. The goal for the cops is basic riot prevention and riot control. So they don't want to shoot anyone. They don't want to cause even more conflict. There was already extreme fighting. So their job was to move people into different rooms away from the Congress people who were evacuating. That was the whole goal of them saying, like, come down this hallway. They were distracting people so they wouldn't find the Congress people. But the rioters did break in first. The Proud Boys did break in.
And that was all Proud Boys with the women and children.
No, the first people in that breached the entrance, that the people that like started this entire thing. Like, if you want to talk about who incited like a mob, who incited more violence, the Proud Boys really helped orchestrate people getting like super violent. So
Yeah,
like,
I
if,
don't
if
know
you're
how
saying
to
like
go
the
on the
random lady,
Capitol.
like that random lady that walked around the Capitol, if you want to say that random lady should be whatever, then fine. But
I'm talking about the whole. I saw people come in the door, then they showed them walking down the hall, then they flicked it over and continued them going down the hall, and it was the same hall because it was the same statue there I saw. So I really looked at that video thinking, what the hell? These people aren't raising hell. How come they didn't show that? This is one they dug up after they arrested all these people when we're saying about it was an insurrection.
so
You
with
really
the
believe
actual
it was an
investigations and surveillance footage, you could see who was clearly in the Capitol first. You could see when they broke in. You could see when the cops opened up different areas of the Capitol to lead them and riot prevention. Do you understand riot prevention? Like, do you understand why that's a thing and what was happening? And the cops were outnumbered a lot, right?
Yeah, but I didn't see anybody in riot gear.
No, it's riot prevention. Just because people don't have riot gear on doesn't mean there's not a riot happening.
Oh yeah, when you got 3 guys compared to 15,000, you're not going to fight them. I get
No,
that.
exactly. So they were
I
being
get
nice enough to lead them into different areas so they wouldn't get more violent. So, because a lot of them were just like walking in because they're like, woohoo, big party. But the guys who did want to do violence, they were trying to confuse everyone, like the cops were, so the Congress people can get out. But they didn't let people in. There were already people in the building. They already broke through a window. There's a video of the Proud Boys breaking through a window using like a shield or something.
Do you think the police were understaffed? Do you think the police were understaffed?
They probably did not expect a mob to attack the Capitol. So yeah.
Just like Pulaski didn't.
Just like who?
She thought she could just spread her fairy dust out and everything was going to be
Pelosi?
Dory, huh? Yeah,
Do you mean
I'm sorry,
Pelosi?
Pelosi.
Why
yeah,
do
Pelosi?
I have callers every night about this, but I don't know why anyone thinks it's Pelosi's job to like command the National Guard or the Capitol Police.
No, but she was offered.
She was on a video saying it's her. There's a clip. Apparently there's a clip because you believe things you see on. No. Okay, she's not involved in the chain of command for Capitol Police. She could be like an advising role, but she's not in the chain of command.
I saw the video her daughter
Of her saying it's all my fault, right?
Well, no, I saw the video about her saying about the guards that she shouldn't have turned them down, which has since been deleted amongst a lot of the other evidence that they say they had. That's another thing that's question. Don't you question that? Why did they all delete all their emails and evidence?
There's no evidence that's deleted. It's all they investigated all of this.
No, they just said on TV on CNN that these guys deleted
There's no
a lot
proof
of
that she.
evidence.
Okay, so it's Donald Trump's job to control the National Guard in D.C. because it's federal land. The Secretary of Defense can act on the president's behalf to control them. Capitol Police are not under the Speaker of the House jurisdiction. Nancy Pelosi is not in the chain of command for either of those.
They were all to her and the mayor of D.C.
No, that's not true, though.
Down.
That's not her job. No, that's not Pelosi's job. She's not in the chain of command. And the D.C. mayor, like, they've left. But still, they did not expect that Trump was going to get an angry crowd to come and riot at the Capitol.
It was way before they could remember anything. It was
Were
like
they
a
supposed
week
to
or 10
prepare
days
for Trump
before.
to do that? Were they supposed to prepare for the mob to storm the Capitol? Were they supposed to be ready for that?
They knew there was going to be a lot of people coming to there.
Yeah, but not to riot and
basically-
break in, right? They didn't know there were going to be people breaking in.
I honestly don't think he thought that it was going to happen.
Why did he lead the entire group to the Capitol and then say that they're going to lose their country? And Giuliani said that they need trial by combat, and they had a noose and they were chanting "Hang Mike Pence." Why did everything happen like that?
What?
Why did they have a noose there, and why were they chanting "Hang Mike Pence"?
You can't control every idiot. I don't think. That's another thing too. The Proud Boys do make Trump look bad, and I don't think he loves them either.
Donald
But
Trump just
doesn't come out
today
and says-
pardoned all the Proud Boys involved. Okay, he pardoned all the Proud Boys involved, and he was asked if they have any role in American politics, and he said maybe today. He's not said anything negative about Proud Boys ever, only positive.
Well, good. Maybe he'll parade them around like the YMCA.
Okay, but you do understand it's not Pelosi's job at all to like manage Capitol security. Like, it's not her job.
Well, from that's another thing I got to fact check. I got to keep your number. That's another thing I got to fact check because the chain of command, she is in there somewhere. She was the Speaker of the House. Just like if something comes up today, Johnson's going to be responsible. And I'm sure if it happened, if it was the other way around and Johnson was in charge, I'm sure he would have taken most of the blame. I'm
So
sure
she's
of it.
not in the chain of command. She's in the line of succession to the presidency at that point, because if the president goes and the vice president goes, if enough people go, it gets to Speaker of the House eventually to be president.
Well, yeah,
But she's not in the chain of
yes,
command
I
for
know.
Capitol Police or for National Guard. She's not in the chain of command, so it's
Yeah,
not her decision.
I think the vice president's before her, but yes, I understand that.
Yeah, but like as far as the decision making on that day, that was all Donald Trump for National Guard, Secretary of Defense for National Guard, and then Capitol Police is a separate entity from National Guard. And the National Guard is
So
usually
you-
controlled by
wait.
states, and for federal land is controlled by the president because they don't have a governor.
So you know that they have a mayor.
No, but the National Guard is controlled federally. The mayor would be more the city or Capitol Police, or not,
Okay,
yeah, the
so
city
you
police.
you don't think Trump even offered them the National Guard?
He never. I mean, he could. If he did, they would have been there. It's his. I mean, it's his decision.
No. Apparently, I don't know, but I'm going to find out exactly what happened there, because it's my understanding that she did have something to do with decision making. Whether they all sit down and have a powwow to try to figure it out.
So is
I
Trump
don't
just
know,
weak
but
and ineffective? Can Trump not command a room? Can Trump not lead and say we need this here? Is Nancy
Well, I think
Pelosi
he
dominating
respects
Trump
other-
here?
I think he respects other people's
When has Donald
opinions a
Trump
lot more than you give
respected
him
Nancy
credit for.
Pelosi's opinion? When has he ever done that?
What?
Are you trying
Why
to blame
should he?
Nancy Pelosi by saying Trump? Okay, you're doing the exact thing they do for every big bad leader
ripped
that
his-
doesn't
she-
respect
she ripped
anything.
his-
You are literally
she ripped his
worshiping him.
state
You're,
of-
you're sucking each of his
She
toes
ripped
individually.
his state. She ripped his State of the Union speech.
What
up
does that
right
have to do with
behind him while he
anything? You're
was-
sucking Donald Trump's feet right now. You're licking his feet. You're spit shining his boots right now. You're saying it's
No,
Donald
Brian.
Trump's. Oh, this is actually the exact thing they do for authoritarian dictators. I was not going to say those words because you guys cry about it. But if Trump did it wrong, it was actually not his fault. He got bad advice from someone. That's always it. It's never that person's fault for anything. What's one thing Trump
No,
did
I'm
wrong?
just saying.
Can you name one? You said
I
you
got-
disagree with Trump on a lot of stuff. What's one thing you disagree with him
You
on?
know,
Like,
to me, this is all hypothetical. I got to find the facts, but I don't think you're 100% right here, buddy. What was your name again, Eric? What was your name again? I can't see my phone.
what's one thing? Okay, you said you disagree with Trump on a lot. It's his first presidency. What's one thing you could say that you wish he would have done different in the first term?
See, there we go. That's where I found you. Believe it or not, I was watching clips. Now I can't silence this. Hang on a second.
All right. If you want to call in, call the number on the screen. Thank you guys for joining me. Please drop a like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me tonight. Drop a like and subscribe. Channel memberships are $3 a month. Appreciate you for joining me. Appreciate you. What's up, my name? Caller is so far gone. Is he even real? No, that's the big thing. That's the thing. They were talking about this in there was a historian talking about the rise of authoritarianism, and it's a Putin thing where it's either Putin's credit if something good happens. If Putin makes a bad decision, it's because he got bad advice. It's never his fault for anything. You know, they can't have any bad judgment. It's because someone else gave him bad advice. Trump saved this nation. He saved this nation from the evil trans. 1 second. I'm turning back on the phone line here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining. Thank you for... I saw you Jola fan account. Thank you for upgrading your channel membership to tier 1. I really appreciate that.
Call from.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hoping we can have a nice civil discussion. You know, I'm a real civil guy. But I did. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. Good. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Yeah, no. So I wanted to talk to you about January 6th. Okay.
Sure.
That's all right. Sure. All right. So, my question is, now why shouldn't we, as the citizens of the country that these politicians are sworn to serve, now why shouldn't we be able to walk in there and demand space to see what's going on? Why should we? Why? I feel like we should have that right. Even if somebody's they're swearing in the president, whatever they were doing, we should be able to walk in and see that. That's our right. We elected these chuckle fucks. Excuse me, I don't know if I can swear. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. So what
Okay,
would
but what
happen
do you
if
think about that?
if every single person in America wanted to be in the Capitol for the certification of the election? How would that work?
Well, every single American?
Yeah. If they just couldn't fit in the building.
Well, then you know what? I understand they got to have limits based on excuse me. They got to have limits for fire safety and all that. When the building burns down, if somebody tripped over, set off a match, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but how do they choose who gets to go in though?
Well, see, at that point, I believe it would be a first come, first serve, or identity verification. Just like we got to have ID verification at voting sites, okay? Only real, true American citizens should be allowed in, okay?
There's
So
well
first is
over 340 million American citizens though, so I mean.
Oh, sure. Wow, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
So we can't all fit in the same room. So how do we pick a certain group of people to make sure the process goes smoothly?
Oh man, well, see, that's an interesting question. Though, see, I'm
so
glad,
we usually, I'll tell you what, we call that the House of Representatives.
The House of Representatives.
We call that the United States Congress.
House, though, is it?
We call that the Congress, and the Senate. Yeah, the Representatives, the Senate, the Congress. Yeah, we elect them to do these things, and we have cameras in the room, but it's not feasible.
Well, now
to have every
hold on. How many damn syndicates, organizations do we have here? I don't.
Just our elected officials federally? I mean, that's who's in the room, right?
Well, sure, but you're talking. We got Congress, House of whatever. It's not a house. That's a big building right there.
You're right. It's not a normal house. I mean, it's over 500 people already in the room.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it doesn't really work to have everyone going to the Capitol like that.
You can't fit 500 people in a house, is what I'm saying. So why is it
Are you trolling? Are you a troll?
No.
Okay,
no,
the halls of Congress. The halls of Congress. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I want to understand this. Okay, I just think Trump is right for the nation. I just think Trump is right for the nation. Shut. Hey. Down here, all right? For real. You fucking being loud as shit. Oh, my bad. Fucking research cigarettes. Like real shit.
I think I lost that debate. I think I lost. The U.S. House is, in fact, not a real house. I let that one slide right past me. I did not pick that up. He wins. He won, dude. Okay. He just leaves. The dog is being too loud, bro. Go to C-SPAN? Well, they don't trust C-SPAN. How do we pick people that would go represent us? How do we pick that group? Hello? Yeah, I hear you. What's up?
Okay, you were talking to the other guy about January 6th.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm also civil. I'm also, I'm not gonna curse or anything. And I am MAGA, but I understand everybody's point of view and everything, so it's good. I prefer talking about the way everybody thinks and everything. So he was saying something before he hung up on all the having about the House and the 500 members of the House. Why do you trust in the government so much?
So the government isn't like this big evil villain, like I don't know, like a transformer or something.
Oh, no,
These are
no, of
people
course.
that we elect. I'm just saying, when we have a system of government, you can not trust the people we elect to it. But I do trust government in the same way that our founding fathers did. They knew we needed a strong government, and the way we have representatives, it just doesn't make sense. That guy said he wanted to have every American be able to go into the election certification process to watch, which is not feasible at all because we have like 300 million Americans or more than that. So we have representatives to do that kind of stuff for us, and we have C-SPAN to bring it to us through the TVs.
Yeah, but all those people are not correct all the time. How are we
Yeah,
going to tell them
it's a
that they're not
democracy, right?
correct?
Well, Trump's not correct all the time, right?
Of course not. Oh, no, no. I am MAGA. I love Trump, but I know he's not correct. Especially he doesn't speak the right way either. So that everybody knows it. And some
My
people
big
hate him
issue
for
with
that.
January 6th is that there were multiple officers.
But
There were multiple officers.
Yeah.
So one officer in January 6th lost an eye. Another lost 3 fingers. Multiple officers had extreme brain trauma and traumatic brain
No,
injuries
perfect. I
to the
understand
point where
that, but
multiple commit suicide. And Trump pardoned people that beat cops with lead pipes and riot shields and stomped them.
let me ask you something. In the game in Florida, I'm not going to tell you where, but in the game in Florida, there was a lot of problems and a lot of riots in a football game. I mean, a soccer game, I think it was. And a lot of people got injured. And nobody went to jail or anything. Just like 2 or 3 got arrested for only like a couple of days, and that's it. They got out.
They
because it was
assaulted
just
police officers,
a
though.
game. Yeah,
Are
they
you
did.
are you okay with assaulting police officers?
I'm not saying that they didn't. They didn't say that they assaulted police officers, but whatever happened in that place, of course, it was out of order. But you're telling me that in the biggest country, United States, we have a little like 5,000 people or something. I don't know. I'm sorry, my ignorance. But whatever people that were there that couldn't get controlled. So you're saying that we couldn't control the people that were there in the Capitol? So we don't have control in rioting.
So there were around.
Of course, just like we didn't have control
There were more.
with
There were
Black Lives
more.
Matter.
Okay, there were more than 50,000 people at the rally Trump had right before January 6th
And
happened.
where
And
was
there were
the army?
over 10,000 people. Over 10,000 people went in the Capitol.
Okay, and we don't have 50,000 troops or reserve troops in this
Well,
country.
no. Okay, so it's not normal. It's not normal for the president to lead his supporters to the Capitol on the day of the certification. So they were not expecting an angry mob to break into the Capitol. They were not preparing for that. And Trump has control of the military, National Guard at that time. And yeah, that is he did not fortify the Capitol.
Okay, what happened in the Capitol is not right. The fingers that got lost are not right. I understand now. The thing is, like, do you think it's fair to put those, I don't know how many people, in jail for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, or just 1 year? That's it.
If they
Like,
beat cops
they
with
just
lead
broke
pipes.
a couple of windows.
No. Okay. So I'm saying right now, okay.
Okay,
If
what
Trump wanted
Trump
to,
is saying,
JD Vance's own
Trump-
position. JD Vance's own position on behalf of the Trump administration is that they were going to pardon all the non-violent January 6th offenders, but not pardon the violent January 6th offenders. He pardoned all of them. He could have simply not pardoned the people that beat the shit out of cops to the point where multiple are now disabled. They had traumatic brain injuries, multiple strokes, and multiple commit suicide or died of traumatic brain injuries after January 6th. He
Do
did
you
not
have
need to pardon the
proof
people
of
that did that.
Because
Yes,
Trump
there's
doesn't
proof. There's
say that.
medical records. There's entire case that was done on January 6th. There's multiple studies. There's so much information on this out there. But if you listen
Why
to Tim Pool
someone-
or Steven Crowder or any of these guys, they're not going to tell you the truth on it.
Okay, perfect. You are talking right, and you're talking so good, but this conversation, you and I don't have the power to be in front of the Capitol saying these things. So if you have that proof, why nobody in power is going against, not against, but like in front of, like, normal and peaceful Trump and say, hey, Trump, that's a lie. You know why everybody talks about hate and you're wrong, and then Trump saying exactly the same thing in every speech.
People did prove Trump
and
wrong on
nobody
this
tells
multiple times. He just keeps saying the same thing. He keeps lying. He doesn't care. He called us. He said us for the rioters, and he said them for the Capitol Police. He said they killed us.
Yeah, I just don't see, and I see everything. I'm telling you.
And by the way, I don't want to ever hear that someone
ABC,
loves the president. I don't want you to love a politician or love our leaders or put our leaders above God or above the Constitution or trust them
No,
above
wait,
all
wait.
else. Like, that's not good. I don't want to hear that you love a leader, or they. I don't want to build. I don't want to build statues of a leader that currently is in power. We should not build statues of Trump. That should not be a thing. We should not have paintings of Trump hung up everywhere. That is what happens in authoritarian countries. Because if you adore a leader, then you're following a cult leader. You're following a cult of personality over your country, over your constitution, over your neighbors.
Yeah, but he's a nationalist, and he loves his country, and then he does things for the better of this country.
You're just saying that it's okay to follow a dictator. Then you're saying it's okay to follow an authoritarian because you agree with them, though. That's not. I don't agree with that. I agree with the founding fathers. No, I'm saying that you love him. You are in love with him. That's not good.
Yeah, I love him. But wait.
Yeah, I know.
But wait. Don't use my words just because I say love. Because I just mean that I like him. Like, I don't love him. He's not my.
But you're also like you're justifying beating the crap out of cops. You're justifying like pounding them with lead pipes and stomping them to death almost.
That. No, I'm not justifying that. What I'm saying is that there's no proof
bad?
Of that. And if there is
the one question, okay, is it bad that Trump pardoned the violent offenders that beat up cops? He could have pardoned everyone else. Is it bad that he pardoned the violent offenders?
He pardoned them, so that's right, because they're not supposed to. They don't deserve to be in jail.
So you're okay with beating the crap out of cops, basically?
That's not what I said, but that happens
because he's completely clearing their records after they beat the crap out of cops. But do you see what I mean? You're defending people. You're not even defending Trump. You're defending him pardoning people that beat the crap out of cops.
No,
out of police officers.
You're using my words to say.
Why can't you not just say that's a bad thing?
Wait.
Is it bad that they did
what
that?
The press is doing to him. So you're doing exactly what the press is doing to him, using every single little thing.
Okay, but you're emotionally defending him like he's your boyfriend.
No, I'm not.
It's not Pride Month. It's not Pride Month.
I'm not. I'm talking to you in a peaceful way, trying to explain. I know my voice.
You're frantically defending him.
I'm Hispanic. No, I'm Hispanic. I talk loud. But
no. You're still frantically defending him. I'm not talking about your voice or your volume or like how you're saying it. I'm just talking about the words you're saying.
I agree with everything that he says. I agree with everything.
Yeah, you agree with everything he says. That's a cult leader.
Yeah,
you love him. You think he's God. He's basically God. If you agree with everything he says, he's God to you.
No,
that's
in
okay.
4 years. No, wait. In 4 years, it's gonna go on. I'm not gonna care about him.
Do you think he was sent from God?
I am not a Christian.
Okay. Do you follow some religion or?
No, I don't. I don't follow no religion. I just know what's the best for this country right now because of facts and because of things that are happening. Get it?
Yeah, but you can still criticize someone that you like a lot. So like you could still say like, okay, well, Trump pardoned the other January 6th people.
And you keep talking about religion and who I like, and that's not the main conversation of why people.
You can still
like
say that like it's bad to beat up. Is it bad that the rioters beat up cops on that day?
But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about
is that bad though?
Right
is it
for
bad
him to pardon the people?
No. Is it no? Okay,
Get it?
Leave Trump out of it. Leave Trump out of it. Is it bad that the rioters beat up cops with lead pipes that day and their own riot shields?
Let's just say that it happened, okay? Let's just assume
if
that
happened
for real, okay?
Sure.
Of course not. But what would be the battery for that? 2 years? 3 years? 1 year? Not 20 years just because it's Gen 6. Get it? That's what's not fair.
What do you think the penalty is to beating a police officer to the point of almost dying?
You are all guilty.
If you beat a police officer to the point where they lose an eyeball, what do you think that charge usually is? A year in jail, 2 years in jail? There's people serving longer sentences for marijuana charges.
Yeah, but there's Black Lives Matter that destroyed a bunch of things and nobody wants to.
Why do you need to pivot? 14,000 people got arrested in 2020 from the George Floyd protests. People got arrested. They went to jail.
Yeah.
They paid their dues.
Why not more?
They did not get pardoned from Biden. Why not more? Why not less? Why did Trump pardon people that beat up cops? That's my question.
Why I cannot go to New York right now because it's unsafe for me to go to New York right now. That was my favorite place.
I was just in New York. It's completely safe there.
Super unsafe. I know a lot of people that have told me that
riding the subway is safer than driving to New York. By the way, you have a much higher chance to die driving to New York.
Your opinion. That's the fact. Okay?
No, that is a fact. Like traffic deaths are higher than subway deaths. Subway deaths are scarier for sure. They're scarier.
After talking to me, get the data and read it to your people.
Okay, yeah, I can get the data right now.
How it was safe 10 years ago? How it was safe 5 years ago?
Fatalities, New York subway versus driving, total fatalities.
In different years. In 2020, in 2021. Get it. Everybody, you know
So
what Trump fails? Hold on, really quick. You know what Trump fails? Trump fails in
okay,
not
so
knowing data.
for the New York
Yeah, that's why
subway,
he says. Wait, I'm going with you. Trump says a lot of lies, okay, and a lot of things that everybody, oh, it's a lie, because he doesn't know data, and that's his mistake for being the president of the United
for
States.
being
He needs to know
unprepared as president. But
100%.
let me say that you asked for the stats. You asked for the stats. Okay, so there's 1.7 billion trips in 2022 from the subway. The fatality rate was 0.03 fatalities per million trips. For driving, it's around 6 times. Wait, let me see. 100 vehicle miles.
Okay, you're wasting time talking about crashes
So it's
and
around.
stuff.
So per mile, it's
Do it
around.
later. You have.
It's around
you
20
have your
times more.
entire-
It's around 20 times more dangerous to drive than it is to go on the subway in New York. But the New York subway is usually scarier if something bad does happen because it's usually more personal because you're not in a car. But car crashes are like a big problem too.
Look, you and I have a conversation of like hours, and of course you're not going to spend hours with me right now in front of people and whatever, because you have other people, you can get other callers and stuff like that. Now, get data and stop asking people if they love Trump or whatever and religion, whatever, because those are opinions. Okay, get data, get exactly what happens. Trump is not God, okay? And everybody's, oh, Trump, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. I said it because I don't know how to talk like, that goes, oh, I love Trump or whatever, because I do love Trump in a presidential way. Like, he's not my grandfather, so I don't love him. But I agree with everything that he does because of the things that I believe
If
in.
you agree with everything he does uncritically, if you can't say there's one thing you disagree with him on, then yeah, you're basically
Only the way he
in a
talks.
cult mentality.
Only the way he
Okay,
talks because
okay.
he's not proper.
All right, well,
But
thank you
I like
for calling
that
in.
he's
Thank you for calling in. I
genuine.
hope you have a great
He's genuine.
rest of your night. He's genuine, as he lies with every single word. Yes. Yes. That's called genuine. All right, where's my regular chat at? Jola is wasting time. True. War and entertainment. Why are you gooning over AOC right now? Thank you, Cam. By day I go by Alpha, by night I go by I had to ran to the store, Ross. I had to ran to the store earlier. I had to ran there. Which area code do I want?
Call from
Jason.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. What do you want to chat about?
Well, I don't know. There are things I don't like about Trump, but there's a lot of things I do like about Trump. I mean, I don't think he's definitely not perfect, but I don't think there's any mistake he's alive right now. I mean, it was within centimeters or whatever of him dying,
Do you think God saved Donald Trump from the assassination attempt?
Yes.
And why do you think he did that? Why do you think God saved Trump?
I think because God wasn't done with Trump.
So why did God choose Corey to die that day?
I can't say why he chose him to die. Maybe.
How can you be so confident in God's intention when killing or when saving Trump but killing Corey is a mystery?
Well, because she works in mysterious ways.
I knew you were going to say that. I was about to say that quote. I was about to say that. I should have said it. I could have claimed that I slogan sniped you, but so you think he works in mysterious ways. So he redirected the bullet to go away from Trump, to go into Corey's head. But you don't know why.
Do you know why?
I'm not the one claiming that God saved someone. I don't think God would do personal favors in this day and age, especially not in a political realm.
Okay, so he wouldn't do anything to try to save a nation. That was
If you think that's pegged on one person, if you think one person is saving if you think one person is saving the nation, it sounds like you're more of like a Christian crusader more than you are a Christian.
It doesn't take one person. It takes many, but it takes a leader.
Isn't God your leader? Why does it need to be through a human? Do
Yeah,
you think
he
God
is, but
ordained?
guess what?
Do you
But
think God
do you
ordains
really,
people to be leaders of man?
God uses people to do His work. It's not like He can just do every. We all have free will. It's not like how would anything get done if it was just He uses us, right?
When God sells, or not God, when Trump sells his Trump Bibles and profits off of selling his Trump Bibles, why is he profiting off of the name of the Lord and His word?
Why does anybody? You have to.
Well,
You
there's a
have to
Bible.
make.
There's other Bible manufacturers that make like 11,000 different editions of the Bible. Why did Trump have to make his own that costs far more per copy?
I don't know.
Yeah, me
I
either.
don't even know that he sells Bibles.
Oh yeah, he sells Bibles for a decent amount of money. Also, when Trump spoke about like receiving communion, he described it as a little cup of juice, and also a little cracker because he never did it before. Trump also talked about a sermon, and he's like, it's so interesting. At 70-something years old, he said a sermon is when they combine the word of the Bible and they bring it back to like real life teachings, and it was his first time experiencing that. So do you think do you think Trump's a Christian himself, or did he just discover Christianity for the first time?
I don't know for sure. I mean, he might be saying stuff to say stuff. I mean, it's not up to me, but I don't really care about that. I don't even think you have to be a Christian for God to use you. It's just if He uses you to do something good, it's whether you're a Christian or not. It's a good
So like
outcome.
for example, if God made that decision for Trump, was it good for God to kill Corey? Did God kill Corey? Did He make that decision, in your view?
Well, first off, there were several different shots. Who knows which shot?
How do you feel that
I
God
mean,
decides like which nation faces travesty, or or like tragedy? How do you think God decides who deserves to die, who deserves to live, or who needs to die, or who needs to live? Like how does He do that calculus? If your family member died, do you think like would you just
honestly,
assume that God is teaching you like a lesson?
you're not speaking to a rabbi, so I really have no clue about a lot
Are
of
you
this
a
stuff.
Christian or are you Jewish?
I am a Christian. I'm not speaking to a priest or
Okay.
anything.
Okay. I didn't know why you brought up rabbi.
I'm a little lax on the whole thing. I probably
Okay, so
should
you're
be
lax
better
on
at it, but
religion. Do you read the Bible often?
well, like once every few days.
Okay. What's your favorite verse from the Bible? What's your favorite like if you had to give me like a couple sentences, what's your favorite?
The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me by the path of still waters. That whole psalm is what I would take out.
Okay, so a
From top
psalm.
to my
Okay.
verse.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing your perspective. I don't think that's a productive worldview. I usually like to judge reality based off of things we can measure and see in the world and off of how we treat other people. I don't really think God would choose His favorites in
Okay,
that scenario.
so here's the other thing I would like to talk about. Remember the whole riots of the Black Lives Matter and all that
Nope,
crap?
that was like 20 years ago. I have no idea. What
Oh
about it?
yeah, you know it happened right before
What about it? What
January
about it?
6th.
What about it? What about it?
So why don't we ever talk about that? Even though we're always talking about
Every
that
single
one
caller,
day.
every caller that calls in talks about that. Every caller. That's the only thing
Yeah.
they bring up, actually.
The liberals don't talk about that though.
I just said every caller. You brought up the liberals. January 6th was interesting because it was the first time that a president did not accept the peaceful transfer of power. It was the first time a president did not attend a presidential inauguration.
Okay. Here's one thing. Do you
It's the
think
first time
that
a president got
the
banned from social
country
media
is
sites.
better off right now?
As a result of Trump winning, definitely not.
No. Do you think it's better off since from
Since
the
Trump
last
left
4
office?
years of Biden? No. Do you think that Biden being in the office for the last 4 years made the country better?
I mean, the country's objectively better today on every metric from when Trump left office. We were at all-time lows in our economy. Well, not all-time lows, but we were at an extreme recession from COVID. COVID was completely unmanaged.
Pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot better now than it was 4 years ago, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Also, do you think that like, do you think that we are better for like, what is it called? Man. Like, do you think that nations fear us?
I think that nations fear us a lot less with Donald Trump because he doesn't understand how anything works.
No, they
Globally,
fear us a lot less with Biden. Biden was a laughing stock to everybody else.
4 times more troops died under Donald Trump's watch. Why didn't Trump do anything about it?
That was him doing stuff about it.
Letting troops die? Why didn't Trump do that?
You know
if
what
he's so
Biden
strong?
did? You know what Biden did? He pulled out. Yeah, troops didn't die, but guess what? Everybody else died. Like, and
Who's everyone
left,
else?
The people we left.
So
Did
there
you
were the
not see the
13.
videos
There were the
when-
13 soldiers that died. And when we talk about like pulling out from Afghanistan, you know Trump negotiated all of those terms, right, with the Taliban, the Doha agreements. Do you know what the Doha agreements are?
Biden did not do it the way Trump was.
Do you know what the
doing
Doha
it.
agreements are?
No, I don't.
Okay, if you don't know what the Doha agreements are, you probably should not have an opinion. I'm just gonna say, if you're not gonna do that research, you should probably not have an opinion on these matters. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, I can't have an opinion.
So
I'm
Trump
an American.
negotiated only with the Taliban. He left the Afghanistan military out of it, or the government out of it. The Taliban set every condition and did not abide by any of ours because we did not set any. Trump negotiated a terrible pullout deal. If Trump wanted to get equipment out and people out sooner, he should have done that during his presidency as well to ease into the next presidency, whoever would have won this the 2020 election. The original pullout was set for May 1st. But when Biden took office, they said, holy crap, things are unstable here because Trump decreased our troop counts to all-time lows. So Biden had to delay it because Trump left it in such bad condition to try and salvage as much as we possibly could of the pullout. But Trump already negotiated terms that the Taliban was going to close in by a certain date. So there were a lot of different issues that Trump's put into motion that Biden got stuck with and had to resolve within like 6 months of being president or within like a month of being president. So, I mean, you should probably look into the Doha agreements, call in another time, educate yourself. If you want to have strong opinions on something like that, just educate yourself. We need to live in a world where people take pride in knowing what they're talking about. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but it's just like really frustrating when so many Americans have strong opinions without backing it up. And this should be for your faith as well. Obviously, you should do your research, do your introspection, and understand
I
the
know
true.
I'm behind on stuff.
No, that's fine. Just I'm telling you, research the Doha agreements. Look at the terms that the Taliban had with Trump and the issues that came up from Trump telling the Afghanistan government, which was going to collapse when we left because we propped that up for 20 years. Research that kind of stuff, and if you call back in, we can have a discussion on it. But if you don't know that very basic, like the most consequential agreement from the Afghanistan pullout was the Doha agreements, and if you don't know about that, we can't really have a good discussion on it. But I appreciate you calling in.
Okay, thanks.
So if you want to call in another time, definitely feel free. I definitely want to hear back from you after you have some time to look into that. But I definitely really appreciate you engaging in the conversation. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, thank you. Please drop a like and subscribe. Again, thank you. Yeah, no, that's really good. The fact that he was able to say, like, I don't know that, and I need to look into that. I don't know all the information. That's a really good thing. People that say Trump is right with everything, and I'm not going to question him, we don't want that. Blind faith is not real faith. Blind faith is worthless. You should be doing some type of introspection. You should be doing some type of research. And I just let people know, like, you should know this for us to have a discussion on this. Because if not, then you're really going off of punditry. You're going off of what Fox News or CNN or what MSNBC told you to say. And it's not conducive for good conversations. And if someone is respectful like that, that's how I approach those conversations. But if someone comes in and they're like a, old, angry man who's not going to adjust any of his positions or opinions, then I'm going to meme and clown and perhaps be a little goofy. But no, I really appreciate that caller. That was really good. Please drop a like and subscribe again. My channel memberships are $3 a month. If you want to guarantee a call in, please donate some dollars to my Venmo or just in general. Need more channel members, $3 a month through YouTube. Your name will be green. Really helps me produce this content. I want to announce also, donate to my Patreon, Cash App, or Venmo, all at Jola Politics. But I would like to say, wow, someone just commented, honestly, I'm a Trump fan, but I like how chill this guy is. Thank you. Appreciate that. We officially hit 17,000 subscribers. I say we as in me, but the Jola fan account is watching. So me and the Jola fan account. Show them the video evidence. Yeah. They released thousands of Taliban terrorists at Trump's agreement. Yeah. Woohoo! 17,000. Great. All right, let's put up another poll about what should the next poll be? Give me a poll, Cam. Give me a poll, Cam. I need a poll. Come on, Cam. I know you got one. I know you got one. I can guarantee you got one. Did Satan save Trump? Who is that? Breaking news. Donald Trump, in a new executive order, has revoked the federal contractor non-discrimination executive order, EO 11246, that was signed by Lyndon Johnson, LBJ, in 1965, and has protected employees of businesses seeking federal contracts from discrimination ever since. Thank you, Donald Trump. Very pro-labor of you. Very pro-labor of you. Really appreciate that. The federal contracting process shall be streamlined to enhance speed and efficiency. When they say efficiency, like Doge, okay? Government efficiency. When a business is efficient, that means they're paying people as little as possible to make the most amount of money. Efficiency is not good for people, by the way. A lot of programs that help people are not efficient, but we do them anyway because they help people. So that includes, by the way, having clean air, clean water. The most efficient thing for profits and business is no labor rights. It's no environmental regulations. It's smog in the air. It's dirty water supplies. It's basically how many people in China live, or India, or many countries where there is essentially slave labor. So Donald Trump is taking back regulations that LBJ did, some of the best action ever done, and Trump is pulling it back for his rich billionaire donors. Okay? Don't ever confuse which side Trump is actually on. Remember that. All right, nice. I'm going to take another caller in a second. Thank you. Who is really president? Question mark. Elon Musk or Donald Trump? Perfect. It might be Rocket League time soon. Oh, yeah, who's running the USA? Probably be a better one. I already put it up, though. It's really interesting hearing Christians go through the mental process of deciding why God killed Corey, but he saved Trump. Gotta say your name, brother. Gotta say your name. And again, if you want to go first, hit that Venmo up. Did someone do that? Oh, someone did, I think. Oh, no, they didn't. Never mind. Did they? Hello. Yes, it is. What's up?
Hey, so quick question real quick. Do you think that Donald Trump activated 10,000 troops during the January 6th insurrection?
Activated 10,000 troops? At some point,
do
he might have.
Do you think that happened?
He might have at some
point. At some point or like the day of? Like while that was happening? Was he on the phone that day talking to the governor in activating 10,000 troops.
Why would he talk to the governor?
He was talking to the governor. He was talking to police chiefs. He was talking to heads of security.
Governor of
he was talking to
where?
the heads of the CIA. He even called the DEA. The governor he was talking to the governor of Virginia. Hell, he was on the phone with the governor of California to see if they could take over where some of the troops that were going to be activated on January 6th could take over a mission to Florida for peacekeeping and like rebuilding after a hurricane.
Let's see. So Donald
you
Trump.
gonna Google it?
Yeah, I'm looking up the actual times when all this happened. 1 second. Let me get this.
Oh, I can tell you when it happened right now because I'm one of the troops that was activated. I'm an E6 and 270.
Okay, so 2:26 p.m., Capitol Police Chief made urgent appeal for National Guard support during a conference call with Pentagon officials at 2:22, or 2:26. I mean, Donald Trump did not do it yet. He was resistant. At 3:04, Army Secretary McCarthy sought approval from Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller to deploy the D.C. National Guard at 3:04.
What's your source on this?
And at
what
4:32,
website are you on right now?
I'm on PolitiFact right now. At
PolitiFact.
4:32, Acting Secretary Miller provided verbal authorization to deploy the National Guard at 4:32, and the authorization was actually the first contingent of National Guard members began arriving after 5.
Damn, that's crazy. All of that at 4:52 and stuff like that. I wonder how I was sitting in an armory, putting on bug out gear and everything else at about 2 o'clock that afternoon. I wonder why we had to mobilize so quick, so early. If we didn't activate and we didn't do anything till 5
Around 2
o'clock, why
o'clock,
were we
you were
there so
getting
early?
prepared. Around 2 p.m., you were getting prepared.
Around 2 o'clock, I was standing inside of an armory in full kits, boots, utes, everything. I got pictures of it, time stamped actually, because I put them on Facebook. Also, I was also wondering too.
So
I know
Capitol
you were talking
grounds.
about a whole.
I mean, okay, so I'm guessing if you had preparation for the idea that you might be called out to somewhere, you don't need the official declaration before you get prepared, do you? Or do you need like the official,
Because
like we're
National
going
Guard
out to
guys
be
don't just
prepared?
walk around in a uniform all day unless they're on drill weekends and stuff.
Well,
so
I know,
after
but if you
getting
have
up,
if
getting
you
in
if you
uniform-
have like a high civilian, if you have something chaotic happening for the civilian population, you have an understanding that you might be called, even if you're not called yet. Or is that not a thing?
that's not a thing. National Guard troops and stuff like that weren't just sitting around activated, getting ready to go out and do anything when they were burning down buildings after George Floyd's death. They had to get activated, shave your face, get AR 670-1 compliant, put your uniform and stuff like that on, find out what your mission is. There's a thing called MDMP, means military decision-making process. Have to sit down, have to plan all kind of stuff. And you're saying that didn't happen until like 5 something? That's crazy because that's what I was doing 3 hours before that.
It didn't. I know you can say your personal experience on that day, but it did not happen. We could have video recordings of the surveillance footage on when National Guard actually showed up and was able to contain the situation.
You have
and that was
surveillance
after,
video of
that was
inside of
after
National
the breach
Guard
of the
armories.
Capitol. So if you were preparing around 2 p.m. and the Capitol was actually breached, the inside of the Capitol was breached at 2 o'clock, then yeah, you were probably getting prepared, but you weren't there until it was already breached,
That's
right?
what I'm saying. You're saying
How many people were in the Capitol before you got there?
We have actual surveillance video.
How many people were in the Capitol before you got there, though?
The National Guard didn't get there. The whole thing died off. It was taken care of by Capitol Ground Police.
Why did you get there so late then? If it was like something that was ordered earlier, or
We
deployed
didn't
earlier?
get there late. We didn't get there late. I don't know where you're getting confused here. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm standing in uniform in an armory going over MDMPs.
Okay.
By the time
So
it was time for us to do anything, it was over.
So it took around 6 hours to contain, right? After 2. What are you arguing
took
right
around-
now? I'm kind of curious what you're arguing.
What I'm saying right now is I heard you all night tonight. Like first you talked to this old dude. As soon as I jump in, talking to an old guy who I can tell is getting confused and flustered. He's stumbling over his own words, this, that, and the other. Talk to somebody else who it sounds like English is their second language, everything else. And I mean, you're asking questions that are speculative and fucking opinion based. And it's like, hey, did Corey deserve to die? No, Corey didn't deserve to die.
That
You
was a
got the
question on
police
if
officers
God,
that were
because that guy said
Yeah,
God
yeah.
saved Trump. The guy said God saved Trump. I said, why didn't he save Corey too? That was my question for that person.
All right, why didn't I don't know? Why didn't he save any of the troops that were left behind during the failed pullout of Afghanistan?
Why
How
didn't
much-
Trump?
how much
Why didn't Trump prepare the
ammunition-
pullout?
how
Why
much
why did Trump negotiate the Doha agreement with exclusively the Taliban and allow them to release more terrorists while we pulled our troops to an all-time low level? Why did Trump do that?
Joe Biden fumbled that. He was the acting
Oh,
president.
wait.
He
Answer my
gave the
question. Answer my
executive
question. Why
order
did
to pull
Trump?
that
Why
out.
did
What
Trump decrease our troops to all-time
I'll
lows at the
answer
same
your
time when the
question when
Taliban
you
got their
start
forces back?
answering mine. All right, tell
Oh,
you
you
what,
can't
I'll
answer the one
answer this.
question. No, you can't answer the one question about Afghanistan. If you can't answer one question about the facts of Afghanistan, you're a partisan. I respect your service. Thank you for your service, but I'm not doing the political campaigning and propaganda. I'm not answering your question. Yeah, because I bring up actual facts and you can't answer one question. Like, we were preparing at 2 p.m. We weren't there. The situation died out by the time we got there. Yeah, you weren't prepared. Like, you were not ordered to go there from the president or secretary of defense. They did not make the call, of course. That's my contention, is that things were not put into motion early enough, obviously. And Trump was resisting calling the National Guard. But there's other components of the military that can help set those plans into motion. Okay, there's one phone number that tried calling every 2 seconds. I don't know why you think I'd What phone number is this, bro? Why did this one phone number called 26 times in 2 minutes? How do you even call that many times? What? The moment they say I'll start answering your questions once you answer mine. And at that point, I have answered every question they had so far. It just shows that they're being partisan. Where is my... How long was that one call? I'm trying to find this out. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Why did Trump decrease troops to an all-time low level and give the Taliban what they wanted? Why did Trump do that? I'm not answering that question. Okay. Good conversation. You got scared, so you cut them off. No, I'm just not being screamed over by someone who just claiming because they were there or in the military that they're right about everything. That's not true. There's a lot of people in the military that are wrong about literally everything they talk about. The Sean Ryan podcast is someone that's former military that lies about everything in the entire podcast series. Sean Ryan, the bald guy? Is that his name? Yeah, Sean Ryan's, he's former military, right? Because he lies his ass off about Afghanistan. He literally had someone on his show with a fake email. There could be people in the military that are biased as well and dishonest. That can be a thing. Sean Ryan's show, which one? Is he former military, right? Or ex-military, whatever. Yeah, he was a Navy SEAL, Sean Ryan. But Sean Ryan had the one guy on to talk about the Cybertruck explosion. And there was like a deep state supposed letter. And he brings on known fraudsters who fake emails. And they faked an email about the Cybertruck guy. But he boosted it to the entire internet. Okay, nice. I love it when they ask, like, what source are you going off of? And it's like, you say a source, and it doesn't matter, obviously, because any source is going to be biased, right? Every source is biased. Jesus. No, thank you. Did I get any? Remember, if you want to call in early, you could Venmo and leave your name and your phone number. Or you can Cash App as well, but make sure you send a message with your name and phone number if you want to call in. Or PayPal. PayPal also works, I believe. Okay. Also, you can join Discord too. Let me drop the Discord because Discord's easier for me to talk in. Or I could talk to Raislin for a second. That'd be more relaxing.
press 1. To send a voice call from
Hello.
Hello. How you doing, buddy?
Do you play Roblox?
Come. Yeah, Chuck. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
call from
Whoa. Ooh, I should answer that so I can do that to it too. I'm sorting through callers right now, by the way. Here's the Discord link. Should be a great night. True. Fantastic night. Here's the Discord link. Former Pentagon chief. Yeah.
to accept press
Is this Donald J. Trump himself?
Yes, it is. How you doing, buddy?
You know what? If Donald Trump called me and said, "How you doing, buddy?" I'd be kind of scared, not gonna lie.
Hey, man, got a question. Okay, like that guy who just called in, he said he was trying to ask you that, he was trying to say that Biden was the acting president. No matter what Trump did or didn't do, he could have pulled out any way he wanted to do. He wanted.
So that's not true though.
And that's what
'cause
he was
they
trying
made an
to say.
agreement
He
with
could
the
do whatever
Taliban.
he wanted to do. He could have
No,
left troops
because
over there. Troops
do you
over there.
think
He could have
how many
not
years were
left
we in
troops over there.
Afghanistan? How many years were we in Afghanistan?
Could he have done that? Just answer that question first.
Like around
and I'll
20,
answer
right?
yours.
He could not have just stayed. No, the government was collapsing because Trump released a bunch of terrorists for the Taliban and went by their rules and reduced our troop count. So it was really hard for us to maintain a stable government there in Afghanistan. That's why we couldn't just stay because Trump forced us to leave on a certain timeline. Thank you for your call. I don't know what to say, dude. I don't know what to tell them. What do they want me to say? Like, if you're not prepared for that, then God, I hate it. Um, worse for. How's everyone doing tonight? I might just do that. Then I can play Rocket League. Hello.
Yo.
I haven't heard from Caveman in forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a minute either.
It happens. He was a fake fan.
So, do you not think the Afghanistan pullout was like a disaster?
So the biggest criticism is that the Biden admin did not react to like changing conditions quick enough. But the main argument is that due to the Doha agreements and also working only with the Taliban, I think the three areas are the decreased troop count to the lowest all time. I think it was down to like 2,500. I think that made it really hard to maintain a stable presence enough to pull out. We released a lot of Taliban fighters. We assured their fighting forces at a level that they have not seen in years, negotiating only with them. And then when the Taliban was closing in to the ANA for the Afghanistan government, they were getting really demoralized because they realized the U.S. was leaving, and Trump did not involve the Afghanistan government in any of those conversations. So like the biggest criticism of Biden is that he didn't respond quick enough to those changing conditions. But I would argue that he was handed a really bad situation, and when he got into office and they saw the situation on the ground, we had a lot of allies in Afghanistan still as well, and we had to go through different procedures. It was a long process to get people out. So it seems like he was forced to push the date back from the May 1st that Trump wanted to do. But other than that, you could tell me other information if there's something that incriminates Biden, or not incriminates, but.
Yeah, so I mean, my main criticism, I think it should have been pushed back further, honestly, because they weren't abiding by the terms of the agreement when we negotiated with the Taliban. So it should have been pushed back even further until they were released hostages as the agreement was laid out.
Did the Doha agreement tell the Taliban that they could move in by a certain date?
I'm not 100% certain if they told them they could like move in. I know it was like kind of like almost a ceasefire, and that's why also the rules of engagement in Afghanistan were so fucked up. Like there's been reports like from multiple people that were there that day that saw the suicide bomber, but they weren't able to actually engage because of the rules of engagement.
So what I'm seeing is there was like a stipulated timeline. It was not like official, we need to be gone by the state, but the goal timeline was May 1st, 2021. And the Taliban agreed to providing, I guess, like general security and trying to maintain peace and like you said, a ceasefire. We basically forced the Afghan government to give up 5,000 Taliban prisoners in exchange for 1,000 Afghan security force personnel. And then let me see. The Taliban committed to reducing violence against the U.S. and coalition forces, but were not prohibited from continuing operations against Afghan forces. So I think that's where the confusion came in when the Afghan government was not involved, and obviously that Afghan government was completely propped up by us. So it seems like that would make it really difficult to maintain, for like you said, like extending the period. It feels like we would have had to re-up our troops there to a very high level, and I feel like that would have been politically like impossible to.
And Trump did this, by the way, like in 2019 when he began the peace talks. After he realized the Taliban wasn't going to abide by the peace talks, he called them off, and then he negotiated in 2020.
What changed between that time and February when the Doha was agreed with?
I know we made some concessions, like we got NATO to pull out like 7,000 troops or something like that. I think it came down to the hostages and the American citizens that were there and how they were able, like the Taliban would allow them to leave. So it was kind of like a mutual kind of thing that led to the ultimate, like the 2020 peace deal. Because in 2020, Trump called off the peace talks because they weren't willing to make those concessions.
I guess like my overall huge issue is that it's one of those situations where I don't think anyone contests unless if you're being completely partisan. I don't think anyone contests that it was going to be rough regardless of how he did it. And without a couple, specific events, it would have gone a lot better. But yeah, I guess it's just hard to say because we were so entrenched there and propping up the government. The moment we even gave any indication of leaving, it was going to collapse. So I feel like any president like everyone wanted a president to do it, but the president that finally was gonna do it. I feel like that's another reason Trump probably delayed and pushed it to the next administration, so it wouldn't affect him in the election. Which I think I might be able to find evidence on that. But yeah, I feel like any president would have gone pretty bad. So I feel like that when they say like Biden's responsible for the death of these 13 soldiers, it's like, well, is Trump responsible because he kept soldiers there and they kept dying, or like I don't know. I feel like the politicization of it is just like really bad in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't directly
Blame Bush. Blame
blame
Bush.
Biden.
Just blame Bush.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
easy to
I
blame
mean,
Bush.
Bush is more at fault for it than Biden for sure, but I do think that it should have been pushed back until the Taliban was actually like abiding by the terms of the negotiations, and releasing the people that they said would release, and allowing people to leave that they said they would allow to leave.
But see, that's hard though, right? Because you're like really, you're already putting all this faith in the Taliban, and then you're saying we're gonna give you back all these troops already, and we're gonna force, you know, the troops to be released, and then at that point, you're still saying like, okay, we need to trust the Taliban. If we can't trust them, if they're already moving in, then we need to re-up troops, right? Because we're not gonna be able to maintain the government there with the dwindling troop count that Trump left there. So it would have had to be like a complete reestablishment of the U.S. in the region, and I feel like Biden would have suffered like maybe even equal political consequences to that, especially when Trump gave a tentative timeline of May 1st. It's not like we're negotiating with, a UN country, you know what I mean? Like we're negotiating with the Taliban. So like we gave that date, if we set it back a year past that, I think we're already, kind of screwed.
What I would really like to know about the whole pullout, to be honest, is who was making the calls for the rules of engagement that day. Because like I said, there's been many reports from people that were there that day, and like even people that I know that have said that they like people saw the suicide bomber before it happened, and they knew that the suicide bomber was going to be there. Like they were warned about it prior, and they weren't able to react.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, but in terms of like, see, that's one of those things too. If that were true, there's no way I could possibly blame Biden for that. Like I mean, the big criticism, like if you criticize someone for how they plan for something, for example, I wouldn't be able to criticize them. I'm trying to think of an analogy. I can't think of one. It's like you make blueprints to build a house, all right, and then you're building the house, and suddenly a hurricane comes through, and the house is destroyed. You can make all logical decisions up to that point of building the house, but the hurricane is still gonna make it fall apart. So I saw like a criticism of like which airport they used at which time, but also there's unexpected events that happen. But it seems that as far as the decisions going in, not using hindsight to our benefit, that there was all, logically sound decisions being made. And a lot of it is like, post talking about it and saying like, if we knew this, then we could have made these decisions. And it's like, yeah, I mean, true, but.
Well, even that day, like the rules of engagement shouldn't have been so lax. Like they knew there was going to be a suicide bomber. They had intel on the suicide bomber. They saw a person that matched the suicide bomber's description.
Let's verify that. Do we have any? Because I don't even hear Republicans bring that up usually. Was there?
And I don't even know if that's necessarily Biden's fault. I'm looking for it.
And it could have been like where were our security guarantees from too? That's another issue with a lot of this. If we had, let me see. Go ahead, sir.
I think the worry was that if we were to like fire on the suicide bomber, that it would like stop the like peace agreement, or like stop the pullout, because the Taliban would retaliate. But I don't think that was a good enough reason to let 13 troops die. Especially because I don't even, if I remember correctly, the suicide bomber wasn't even a part of the Taliban. He was like some other radical religious group.
Well, the person that did the bombing was released by the Taliban like before they did it. So I mean, that even could have been, a little bit sketchy there, but. Crap. I mean, we chose really bad partners too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% certain. I mean, he could have been a part of the Taliban, but from what I've read, I
No,
thought
no,
he
no.
was like a
He
part
was
of like
released from
Al
prison,
Qaeda
but
or
from
something.
them.
Yeah, because he was like
He was an ISIS operative.
like yeah,
A known ISIS
exactly.
operative. So the Taliban, yeah. I mean, it seems like it often available until at the time that they. I can't find proof that they knew ahead of time the intel to prevent the attack. There was intelligence like with a possible attack, but they couldn't guarantee it or not guarantee it. It's difficult, and that's the thing with like getting troops out of there being a long process. Because we had to get our allies out of there too. It's just so hard. If Biden would have been there to negotiate earlier, I definitely would love to see what he would have came up with versus what the Trump administration did for the pullout,
So
which
I
was the
found this.
Taliban route.
I don't know if you found this, but it seems like this is what I didn't even know because the information I have is just from like people I know and the things I've seen online from other people that were at the Afghanistan pullout. But it does look like the DoD put out a report that they did see the bomber prior. And I'll send it to you right now. I'm reading through it.
On Stars and Stripes, there was an investigation that determined that the attack could not have been prevented based on the intelligence available at the time. So I have an article on that too. That's saying even if, like,
Yeah, this is from the DoD. I'm reading through it. I haven't read this before, so I just want to make sure.
because I feel like I would have heard, I just feel like I would have heard that criticism before if it was like founded in, or if it was like,
I don't think a lot of people really look that deep into it. Like I think it's just the optics of it that they have a problem with.
Well, yeah, they don't know anything. Like I said with that guy where I'm like, you know what the Doha agreement is, and it's like, I mean, I did not know before I started like talking to people on stream about Afghanistan. By the way, I did not know everything about the Doha agreement that went into it, but I did research because I knew that people were gonna have conversations about it calling in. But I feel like that it's a good standard to set when people call in to just say like, hey, by the way, like if you don't know about this one agreement, you probably don't have enough information to talk about anything. Like we're not gonna have a good conversation on this, so like I don't want to waste my time with people that like have zero information on it. Like that's not even a conversation at that point. It's literally just a propaganda battle. Oh, look at that double block. That was a crazy double block. Hell yeah, for the win, dude. By the way, if anyone's still calling the Gmail, the Google Voice, if anyone's calling the Google Voice, I'll take call-ins if you donate money to Venmo or Cash App. If you send me $10, I can guarantee you a half-hour call, okay, or like a 20-minute call, whatever. But I see like 50 people trying to call right now. I'm calming down for the night. I can't keep staying up till 4 o'clock since I have to be I'm back at work again. So I'm not off work. I gotta go to bed before 2 a.m. So I'm toning down now. If you guys come in Discord though, we can hop in a chat together on Discord. And there are people in here with us right now in Discord, just silent listening, including our favorite DJ.
I'm also your least favorite DJ because I'm the only DJ. Is $10 for 20 minutes like kind of a form of prostitution?
Don't tell anyone, dude.
Sorry,
I'm
my
trying
bad.
to be like
It's
that
not.
Silk Road guy that Trump pardoned today.
Oh yeah.
What did he do?
I have
What did
not
the Silk Road
been.
guy do? Does anyone know the exact crime? I
I
know
don't-
the facilitation of the illegal drug selling, but I saw rumors of him like trying to get people killed. I did not know if that was true or not.
I'm just too brain broken over the Elon clip to actually follow anything of substance.
Why did Elon grunt like that when he did it? He went like he's punching the air.
I think it might be an autism thing, which is fine, unless
autistic
it's
dog
also
whistle.
a Nazi thing. Yeah.
It could be both. They overlap a lot. They do overlap a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody should do a study on that. Why don't you quit doing politics streaming and go back to being a rapper?
You know, the game can be dangerous for us white men from rural America.
Yeah, you're gonna get
I just don't
Eminem'd.
have it. I just don't have it, man. I just don't got the skills needed, dude. I
I
went on
think you
Wipeout
have
once
it.
and I lost it. No, I went on the show Wipeout.
What is that?
You know the show where they jump on the balls?
Were you
Wait.
really on that?
No, I wish, dude. I was on like a mini
Oh.
version of it though, but I was not on the TV show.
What?
I actually liked the last couple of songs that you said were the most cringe, I think. I was actually like, wow, no, his flow is actually pretty decent here. I caught myself like nodding my head and I was like, okay.
We're gonna have to go through, all right? We're gonna have to play it with you guys in chat so I can actually hear your hear your real-time responses. So I know. It's hard to tell because I mean I don't do it ever. I used to a lot, but my older stuff sounds like super bad, but yeah. And my Fireflies remix is fire though.
The Hollow Points line was an absolute bar.
Dude, it is though. That's a bar, right? It is.
Yeah. No, I think you're a real talent, and I'll sign you. Tell you what, kid, this is your big break.
What label are you with?
Cow Talk.
Oh, I thought you were with Who Did It, P Did It.
Oh, no, I stopped associating with them after, you know,
He's
all
with
that
No
stuff
Money
came
No
out.
Money Records.
Yeah, No Money Record with Drewski. That's what I mean.
What do you think? What do you think the candidates are going to look like in 2028, assuming the 25th Amendment still exists? What do you think who do you think the Democrat front runner is going to be, and who do you think some of the GOP front runners are going to be?
JD Vance is going to be president, and JD Vance is not going to hold an election. He's going to become president because Trump's going to be kicked out through the... Which amendment is it for the presidents that need to be kicked out? Which one?
I said assuming the 25th Amendment still exists.
No. The amendment where like you can kick a president out if they're like dying, if they need to be like... What amendment is
Oh,
that?
I have no idea. I think most of those regulations are in like the 23rd through 26th. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, but Trump's gonna get kicked out for being too old and senile because he is like terribly. And then JD Vance will take over, and we're not gonna have elections in 2028 because we're gonna be in wartime with Panama and China
Or
and
Denmark,
Russia.
or both.
It's gonna be the BRICS countries versus the Bitcoin countries.
Hell yeah. You know, so here's an interesting question. If we're gonna build our wall at the border, and we get all of our cement, or like most of our cement, is imported from China, how is Trump gonna toe the line? How is he gonna say, yeah, let's build the wall, but let's also spend a bunch of money on Chinese espionage cement that shouldn't be trusted?
He can finance it through his new cryptocurrency meme coin.
Black Friday sales at Home Depot and Lowe's. Come on.
Yes. We're gonna steal concrete from American cities and break it and take it there. That's gonna be our new jobs once the AI take over. We're gonna all be hauling concrete across the country in one big line. It's gonna be like the Trail of Tears, but for the concrete industry.
Works for me.
That's gonna be their green push for the environment. We have to walk everywhere. We're mules now, but not for drugs. Only for Trump Jr.
No, the drugs will stop because we're going to build the wall. And because that's exactly how it works, because most immigrants don't enter through ports. So have you had Caveman on in recent days?
He's been gone, man. He left. He's cheating on me with another content creator.
Do you think him leaving had something to do with the recent allegations?
With Destiny?
Just because, you know, it's like if you're if you're representing a guy and, you know, he kind of falls out of good graces with the audience, it only makes sense to run and hide.
Does my audience even? I'm trying to think of my. Do you mean the Destiny allegations?
Wait, what?
Yes,
Caveman?
that's
How does Caveman connected to Destiny?
No, he's a super fan.
Caveman's
he's a super fan.
he's a
yeah.
Destiny surrogate.
No, he's not a surrogate. He's a super fan though. I am friends with Pisco though now. I might be doing more content with Pisco. We're talking
Hell
about
yeah.
something next week, probably. I like Pisco.
What do you think of the allegations, Jola?
I don't know. Okay, I was
we're on the
gonna
topic anyway,
I was gonna say that really quick because I was just saying might be doing some work with Pisco, and Pisco goes friends with Destiny, so I'm not gonna talk about anything that I don't know about. So you guys can explain what's happening because I have no idea.
Yeah, so it
Yeah, I'd
seems
like to know, actually.
it seems like what happened was he had some videos of another girl and him, as well as guys on his phone, doing like sexual acts that he sent to another girl that got leaked around the internet. And now that girl that was in the videos and clearly identifiable is suing him.
Ooh, like an actual lawsuit?
Yeah. hmm
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
They're all deep fakes. Beyond that, my opinion on the matter is protected by attorney-client privilege.
Okay. Well, didn't he get the video shared of him a few months ago?
Well,
Yeah,
it was a part of those leaks. There was
It was
not
part of it.
just
Okay.
that one.
And how did
Yeah,
they
there
leak
was
though? Like
more.
who leaked them?
The theory is it was the person he sent it to's boyfriend, but I don't think nothing has been confirmed yet, so I don't know. Really, we don't know how it got leaked.
It's a
But
baller move.
we know he sent it to another girl without the girl in the video's consent. According to her, she didn't have his consent to send it, and he sent it to this other girl.
Oh, so he sent it to her as like a look what I did with this person, and then the boy, like whoever leaked the other stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That was dumb.
I've never even heard of like somebody like being like, oh, look what I did with this person and just like sending those videos. I've never heard of that before, but
Oh yeah, that happens a
I
lot
don't
now.
know. Destiny.
Sometimes you gotta write home about it.
Oh my gosh.
But you should definitely
That's
get
kind of
consent
like your
from someone if you're gonna
generation's
do that.
MO though. That's your generation's MO.
How old are you?
Y'all want everybody to know. Me?
Yeah.
I'm 42.
Oh, I thought you were a little bit. I thought you were like 30 something.
No, unfortunately not.
I personally don't want anyone to know that I've had sex with 350 people in the last week.
But yeah, the main issue is that he didn't have consent to share the videos and he did, and then they got leaked. So that's what the lawsuit is likely going to be about. And yeah.
Good night, Jola
The
fan.
lawsuit's with Destiny or is it with Caveman? I just got a little
Not
lost there.
Caveman, it's Destiny.
Oh, okay.
Well, Caveman was involved because DJ is a private investigator.
Caveman's implicated. He's implicated.
Okay.
That's all I can divulge.
No, Caveman is not implicated.
I don't know if we can say that about an actual legal case.
I can say whatever I want, okay?
I'm not involved in this.
I passed the strict scrutiny test, okay?
Does my audience like Destiny? I'm trying to think what the general view is. And Hassan. I feel like I have like some Hassan viewers and some Destiny and some like Pac-Man and some Cedar and then also some Tim Pool. Like it's so weird. So...
I don't like Destiny, especially after this stuff that came out at all, but I just think that's like a really fucked up thing to do. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was pretty, like... I guess I kind of like the guy, but after this, I can't watch him anymore.
I just realized your avatar was Jackie Daytona.
Yeah, I fucking love that show.
I fucking love it.
It is interesting how the e-celebrity part with all the people that want to like get with someone for clout, like just for even if it's not like just I don't know.
Yeah, there's some people that are like saying that he was kind of using his position as like a big streamer to like get with these like younger girls too.
I mean, it's
It's like
okay. Like
predatory
being
behavior.
famous or wealthy or attractive or athletic or whatever, like those are things you can leverage in being attractive to someone. But if you're doing things like, threatening to turn an audience against them, then it turns into something that's immoral. But like obviously, if you can't really control if you're like a celebrity, obviously. But if you use it for threats or if you use it as like the sole reason, like you got to hang out with me, I can make your channel grow if you hang out with me. That'd be where I would say crosses the line. But like in general,
Oh, yeah.
you can't really avoid
You
that.
don't think the implication is kind of there though? Like, I
But
feel
then
like
you'd
the
have to say that every
implication's
celebrity just
definitely
can't like do anything at all with anyone. Like, I think it
I
depends
don't
how
know.
you
I
do
feel
it.
like when it's like with younger people especially, like
It
if you're
depends how
like
young though.
30
Don't just
some
say younger
years
people
old
though.
and they're 19, like there's clearly like
19 is a little extreme, but I mean, it's still, yeah, it's not kids, but I would not personally do that. But as far as my moral judgment is concerned, it is
yeah. I mean,
interesting.
and even if you did, I would hope that you wouldn't like leak the video to like some other random chick because you wanted to hit
Well,
on
I would
her.
imagine in this space, okay, I imagine that if you're meeting people through this space, even if you're older as a guy, the space is 99% men. So the women in the audience that you'd even meet or even meet in these spaces will be like younger, I assume. You're not going to have many like, especially for streaming content. Because my channel, I have a really broad age group. And I actually, for YouTube channels, I'm like 30% women, which is actually really high for YouTube. But I don't do like edgy debate lord gamer streams. I do like a radio talk show basically. But for him, I guarantee like the audience is going to be very like different in terms of people that you meet. And obviously I'm
Yeah,
not
but
famous, so.
I think it's like almost dishonest to say that age doesn't also play into the power dynamic with the like the big streamer kind of as well.
I mean, maybe you could say like being like someone who's like extremely attractive also has a power dynamic. It really depends. It's a lot of nuance, I think, for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so the power dynamic isn't inherently like the bad thing. It's
Immoral.
what you said, where it's abusing that or leveraging that power dynamic to do something wrong or shitty. But every relationship inherently has differences in either how conventionally attractive one of the people is, or how old one of the people is, or how financially stable one of the people is. The issue is if that starts to get abused in order to
Yeah, like a lot, like a doctor. A lot of women would think like a doctor's really attractive, like, and would you say that's different from celebrity? If it's high status position,
Well, look
or
at
like a lawyer.
Selena Gomez and whoever the hell she's engaged to.
Benny Blanco.
Yeah, I mean, she's really hot, and he's
funny
kind of
though.
gross.
He's hilarious. I don't know
He's
much
got
of
a
his
good
content, but yeah.
He's got a good personality. Like, he seems like a good dude. I'm not like dogging him in that way, but I don't know. It's just like
I think you're held to a higher standard too if you're a celebrity. It's like you're being paid money by these people because they like your personality and everything. If they find out that you're, being shitty behind the scenes, it's gonna completely drag you down.
Oh,
And I
that's another
honestly
point.
think it should be that way.
No, I was gonna say that too. And even like a popular person might seem more attractive because like if a guy has a lot of girlfriends, for example, like friends that are girls, then he might be seen as more attractive because if he's around so many people who find him to be safe, then that might be someone who's like, if people are friends with him, he's good personality, that kind of stuff. But obviously like internet fame is different, but yeah, I mean there's a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
Morality is a different
No,
question. It depends if you put moral judgment on it.
I don't want to like spread rumors or anything, but I've heard other things about Destiny that would lend me to believe that he uses the power dynamic to his advantage. Because I don't think these things are proven, so I'm not gonna say like what exactly I've heard, but it makes sense to me. With this stuff coming out, that it would be true. Like if you stop talking to somebody because they don't want to have sex with you, for example, and stop like having them on your stream. Like that would be abusing the power dynamic.
Yeah, and that would need to be proven for that being the reason, because it could be just be like a obviously. Like, I mean, you'd have to prove that you brought them on for that intended purpose, and you're kicking them off for that intended purpose. Because I've had people on my stream. I mean, obviously, like you can have just people who like caveman, like who just watch for a little bit and then don't. It really does depend on a lot of the other stuff. But like in other situations, people can agree. It's hard to engage in general. Casual engagements in general are very difficult to navigate. And even if you agree beforehand, like, okay, we'll talk now, whatever. I mean, you're talking about something different, but like in general, it's like people get emotions, they get feelings. So you have to have like a lot of judgment considerations if you're going to be using all the apps and stuff too. If you're just like a random guy or a random girl looking for fun on the interwebs.
I want you to know, Jola, you're free to share my nudes with anyone you want.
Calm down.
Don't share them with me, please. Thank you.
You don't even know.
Lying and joking.
You don't even know.
Anyway,
every friends with benefits I've ever had, one of us always catches. Someone always catches feelings.
You should just say
It's
I always
inevitable.
catch feelings. Just say I always. It's more for funny. It's like one of us.
I'm a good
I always
guy.
catch.
I'm a good guy. I catch feelings pretty quickly. No.
you know what? Guilty. I don't know. I'll never understand people who can compartmentalize like sexual attraction and romantic or emotional attraction. I just never.
People
I'm
wanna
a real
debate.
demisexual.
If you guys want to chat, come in Discord.
depends how-
We're in a community chat in Discord. You can come chat in Discord if you guys want to call in that bad. But if you want an exclusive 1v1 conversation, then you have to pay me money. Sorry.
But yeah, even Tom, and from my understanding, Tom like does a lot of content with Destiny, and Tom was saying it looks really terrible. So
So Jola's the only one left.
If
Yeah,
I mean,
Joel's the
if
only
they're having
one.
a case about it, then I would like to see all the. If they have like a discovery process or something, I'd like to see everything about it. If two people shared information about each other, what would happen in like that? Like,
what do you mean shared?
Like,
It
if you-
cancels out.
no,
It
like,
becomes like nobody ever shared anything.
if like someone shares something, but it turns out they both shared stuff of each other, like, is that legally like a?
Like they would technically both have committed a crime if there wasn't the consent prior to.
How would that work then? Would they
Neither
both
of
go
them
to-
committed a crime.
Would they both go to jail? In
It's
the hypothetical
Under
scenario.
Florida statute, they definitely committed.
It's like it's like when you it's like when you take your friend's comb, your friend's hair comb, because you don't have
Two
a comb.
lawsuits.
And your friend was gonna give you your comb, his comb anyway, but he just didn't want to say anything because he thought it would be weird. And then you
That would
take
be
his comb.
wild.
It's like it's fine. It's not theft, you know.
With all the DNC stuff he's been doing too, he just interviewed every single DNC candidate.
This comb analogy doesn't make any sense at all.
DJ does not try to make sense. He tries to make a lot. He tries to. I don't know.
I mean, I looked into the Florida law with Tom about this, and he definitely seems to have broken Florida law if what she's saying is true, if the allegations are true. And
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it also goes into like the federal law aspect of it, because it's the same thing. Like if somebody does porn or they do OF or something like that, they have to sign like a bajillion consent forms to get it released. If you release it without, it falls underneath. There's some hate crime that goes towards that.
How many subscribers is this thing? Is he bleeding subscribers as a result of this? I'd assume he,
He
would be.
is.
It was yesterday, yeah.
he still is. He's still bleeding subscribers.
Interesting. I wonder what the DNC thinks. They're like, we finally gave the DNC is like, we finally gave independent media a real shot. And this happens the week after.
They'll be like, "Oh, you'll fit right in, buddy. Come on."
But it's like, it's hard though, because if you're on the right, you're allowed to do that kind of stuff. You're just like allowed to, no one really cares that much. Like Pete Hegseth, the stuff has NDAs on, from him like beating the crap out of women and them hiding, and the phone calls of women calling the cops from him is actually kind of insane. And his own mom calling him a threat to women. But it's like okay if you're on the right because they don't really care about that stuff as much. But if you're on the left, you have a much like higher standard for like conduct, or you get kicked out.
I haven't seen what you're talking about specifically.
Oh, look up the case with him. There's a case with a woman like hiding in a closet, begging for the cops to come, using code words for domestic abuse. With him drunk from a bar, him being drunk at the bar with his uniform on, like rampaging through the town, screaming about how whites need to produce more kids so they don't get replaced by Muslims. And then also there is the text of his mom calling him a danger to women, obviously, after those cases. I should really get those together though, because that'll probably be a useful argument for me with saying how shitty Trump is of like a person if that's the Secretary of Defense. I gotta
Did
get that
Congress
together.
ever release the statements that were made like to the committee with Congress about Matt Gaetz, or no? Like Marjorie Taylor Greene even had like a big huge issue with them trying to release like the testimonies against Gates.
I think that it was released. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was released.
Was the full report released with all the? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, they released the committee report.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have all the testimonies?
Yeah, everything's in the report.
The Pete issue is there's a lot of NDAs involved with Pete Hegseth. There's a lot of NDAs, so there's a lot of people we just can't hear from.
I don't know, the one time I ever was like, do it, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was when she was like, I'm going to release like everybody else's, you know, all the skeletons in their own closet if they release Matt Gaetz.
Oh, that was crazy when she said that. She's like, there are so many people in Congress who have done way worse than Matt Gaetz, and I'm going to expose them if you expose Gaetz. We're all going down if he goes down. I was like, wait a second. You're just like admitting that you know about all these...
I'm
and you're only
all
going to
for
tell
that.
us?
Like,
You're only going to tell us if they... Yeah.
Let's fucking see everything.
That's crazy that she said that, though.
Well, they released it, and as far as we've seen, nothing has happened. So, bullshit
Newsmax host
again.
now.
Common Marjorie L.
He was
It's
talking about
okay.
makeup with George Santos on Newsmax. So. That's nice. Someone said, as a woman, I could just say because someone is a doctor doesn't inherently make them attractive. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people do view success or like, especially now on a dating app, even for hookups. If someone is like all the conservative men, for example, on dating apps. Okay, dating apps. They're all putting moderate as their political ideology because they know that they're gonna, have a harder time if they put conservative. And they're lying about who they support.
These days, moderate means conservative. Can you answer my question unironically, please? Who do you think? Who do you think is going to be a front runner for the Democratic candidate in 2028?
Bernie Sanders.
Out of every candidate
sure
who's
about
that
that?
old, he's the healthiest. He's
just
healthier
never-
than Trump and Biden.
He's peaked at like 82, and he's not going to change from here on out for the next 30 years.
I wish that was true.
I hope Westmore runs. I think he'd be a strong
He is
candidate.
cool.
Very chill guy. He's an actual American, unlike Trump. He was chugging beers with the pep rally, with the band at the Army Navy game when Trump was up in the box with all his rich billionaire friends. I think West would be a really good tone shift. Came from a real background, military, got himself out of, helped his family. Came from nothing, grinded for it. He comes off as genuine. Like, I like him a lot. He doesn't come off as like career politician, and he's not a career politician, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I like him a lot.
Then on the Republican side, it's probably going to be Vance.
I can see like Tom Cotton or Josh Hawley. I guess
Holly would be an interesting pick too. I don't know. I think I'm gonna probably. I will have to see who the candidate is, but
I can't wait to see all the different January 6 opinions in the next 4 years, because like Republicans first said this was like a travesty for American history and like one of the worst democratic events in our country's entire like existence. Then they shifted to say, you know what, actually, I don't know much about January 6th. Like Rick Scott was asked about it. He's like, I don't really look into January 6th that much. I don't really know what happened with the violent offenders. I can't really comment on Trump pardoning the violent offenders. But I guarantee you, in 4 years, if Trump's gone out of the picture somehow, if he like passes away or something, I guarantee you they're gonna be like, January 6th was messed up, guys. Like, I can't believe you guys supported that.
There's a non-zero chance. It's low, but not zero, that this term goes bad enough that we start to see a shift away from the sort of Trumpian political candidates. Might be wishful thinking, but you know, I would happily see Ted Cruz 2028. You know, I'm hopeful.
Likely is easy to beat.
Easy to beat, but also just a normal, like an actual politician with actual policies. At this point, I'll take anything.
To me, he just comes off he's too fake as fuck.
Anyone who doesn't like Nazis or kleptocracy or technocracy or authoritarianism, I'll take at this point.
You could just go back to regular old racism, please.
Yeah, I'm begging for, like,
this
Bush.
new crazy shit.
Bring
I
Bush
know.
back. Bush did the same policies, just without the authoritarianism, or at least without the anti-constitutionalism and anti-democracy thing, or anti-republic.
I was gonna ask Jola, because originally I was trying to call in and see your opinion. I totally agree with everything you have to say about Jan 6th. The only thing is, I don't know if that's like the hill that Democrats really want to die on, is basically keep preaching to conservatives that, you know, Jan 6th was this horrible event and that
Well, no,
it was...
wait. Okay, the big thing is, by the way, it's not January 6th. It's the pardoning people that beat up cops with lead pipes and stomped them and used riot shields on them, brain damage, actual mental trauma, you know, 5 officers or whatever dying, committing suicide, losing eyeballs and fingers. That's the part I argue on. I don't care about, I mean, January 6th, by the way, like, if we cannot agree, if we have people that cannot admit that Trump was wrong to pardon those people, and Trump says they were on our side against law enforcement, if they can't get down with that, or say that it's bad that, like, Trump has said he loves Kim Jong-un, one of the most brutal dictators in human history. He loves Kim Jong-un. He thinks he's a cool guy. He thinks there could be condos in North Korea. If we have an America that doesn't look bad at these things, that doesn't think these things are bad enough, or if Trump says, yeah, we're probably going to invade Mexico, like today or yesterday, he literally smirked and said, you know, crazier things have happened. We're probably going to invade Mexico. If you don't see things like that as objectively bad, then our country's screwed anyway. Like, it's so bad.
Well,
we're
I
screwed.
guess the way I see it is that they already made that decision back in November, and I think the Democrats largely just have to completely shift the way that they're trying to reach their message.
Well, I
That's
disagree
why
because
just
the
don't
problem
know if
they need
Jan
to
6th
they don't need to shift a message. They need to reach more people and smarter ways to reach people. Because if you look at the polling, the exit polling at all, and it's by huge margins, voters believed completely fake and fraudulent things about Trump's administration and that he just lied about, like on Obamacare, on the Affordable Care Act, on Social Security and Medicare. They do not know what his record was. They don't know what he wants to do. They have no idea. They supported Kamala's policies and did not even know because they thought Trump was going to do it. So like a lot of voters, there's only 35% of the country that's like extreme MAGA, like the people that talk to me that are like, I can't say one thing Trump did wrong. God saved him and killed Corey for funsies. It's like, no, like that's 35% of the country.
Of the Republican Party, not even 35% of the country.
No, that's 35% of the country.
Because Trump only wins by like 30, like he only gets like 30% of the vote when there's other candidates with the Republican
I'm going off
Party,
of after
so...
January 6th, or like people that believe the election was stolen in 2020. It's a pretty high number. It's at least 35 minimum of the entire country of voter base.
In the most recent Republican primary, Trump, like when there was other candidates, there was not, like, he was only doing about 30%. Like, obviously, if they are willing to support another Republican candidate, then they're
Wait,
not...
Trump didn't even debate and he won like 80% of the vote though. He didn't even debate and he won like 90% of the vote. He ran away from the debates.
Well, that's
sure
what I
no one
mean.
beat
Like,
Nikki Haley.
how would the U.S. public, like, basically end up siding with a person that doesn't even engage in any debate, or I mean, I
Because
just
propaganda.
maybe I'm in an echo chamber, but I just
People
don't
were
understand
receiving
how.
flyers in all over Pennsylvania, crucial swing state, saying that Donald Trump wanted to expand Social Security. Meanwhile, Kamala wanted to cut it and give it to illegal aliens and tax it. Both of those things were not true. Trump tried cutting it with every budget, but people believed that Trump and Kamala were equal on Social Security, which is the first time Trump polled the highest for Social Security for any Republican in American history, when he probably went at it like just as aggressively, if not worse. But yeah, like if people believe that, they're being told lies about what's happening in the world, and mostly it's pronouns. People are mad about pronouns.
Do you think
Well,
to a
you know how
certain
you
extent it almost means that like the left also has to engage in some of those tactics? Like the whole they go low, we go high is not working.
Okay, the left's messaging right now is weak. It is weak. They sound like they're talking on
can I
a
tell you-
Broadway show. They just sound weak. They can use the same. They don't need to lie to people like Republicans do, but they need to sound confident, and they need to sound like normal freaking people, not like, we are going to protect the decorum of America today. Thank you for having me on your podcast, sir. It's like, no one wants to hear that.
Can I give you a quick perspective, because you're right about the messaging. I feel like whether you agree with policies and stuff or not, right? Trump, the reason they went with Trump without him having the debate is they were like, yeah, run that shit back. Run that. Let's do that. We're doing that. You know, that's all they needed to hear. And Trump's messaging is, here's what we're going to do. Democrats' messaging wasn't, here's what we're going to do. Here's what Trump's doing and why it's bad. And then they ignore their own
Trump's
policies.
Trump's entire campaign was Democrat bad. He did not have any policies to stand on his own. Kamala Harris talked about like 15 policies no one talked about. Trump ran zero ads for his actual policies, by the way. I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about policy. I'm not talking about policy. I'm saying I'm talking about like his rhetoric.
Okay,
like,
the presentation.
We're gonna build
I
that
agree.
wall. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about policy. I'm saying
But you
we're
need
gonna
to
build
lie to
that
do
wall.
that, right? You
We're
need to
gonna-
lie to talk like that, though, because in order to sound super confident about everything and to like say you're gonna fix the world, you have to lie. There's no way you can say that everything's gonna be fixed because I'm in charge without lying. Like that's just you just can't say it.
I mean, politicians have always generalized. You know,
No,
this
but
is
he
what we're gonna do. But then they
he
never do it.
100% lies. Like he fabricates reality. Like with FEMA funding, he just fabricated the reality. Like he just said that Biden never called. Like I bring this up all the time. He brought up that Biden never called these states when they were literally saying Biden was calling too much. They couldn't catch him on the phone because he was calling all the time. They're playing phone tag. Like Trump just lies about that. He lied about how much federal funding people got from FEMA. He's like $750. The rest went to the illegal immigrants. He literally said that Cybertruck bomber and the guy with the truck in New Orleans. He said they were illegal immigrants instantly, and now people believe that. They lie. They don't just fabricate. They don't exaggerate. Trump lies. He creates a fake reality. That's the issue, though. He can win because he can just fight. He's fighting with like special powers.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, while Trump's doing all this over here, his supporters, me being one of them, right? His supporters are hearing whatever they hear, but they're hearing it from him about, this is what I'm going to do. This is not my policy, or it's not a policy. This is my rhetoric. And instead, Democrats of coming up with their own rhetoric or their own policy, they're more worried about Trump's rhetoric and trying to combat it or make it look bad. And it's
Well,
like,
yeah, 'cause
no,
they don't want to stand for anything.
right.
sound
So
weak.
it's like, that's what they need to do about their messaging. Stop worrying about Trump or whoever else runs
Well,
next.
you can worry about
Worry
Trump just not
about
the
what
dumb
you're
reasons.
going to do.
If you're going after Trump, call it. Say if you're saying like Trump, for example, you can just like if like Biden and Kamala. Okay, the way they messaged on the infrastructure package was so dumb. Like you have to understand where we live in right now. If they would have kept saying Donald Trump said infrastructure week all this time, we actually got it done, build back American roads and bridges. They could have easily said stuff like that, but they didn't. They just kept appealing to he's a threat to democracy. Like that's just was not the winning message, whether you agree with it or not. Like if they would have pounded home these other ideas and just like the price gouging stuff, if they would have really went hard on those issues, they probably would have done a lot better. But they did go with like the consultant class, like threat to democracy stuff. And even if I believe that's true, it wasn't the messaging that was going to win this election.
Well, couldn't the argument be made that we had a sort of strong messenger, in the form of someone like Bernie, but it didn't work, right? Like Bernie, in 2016, the person who had the most similar rhetoric to Trump was probably Bernie, and he wasn't lying, right?
He was a less extreme, watered down version of a left version of Trump.
No, but he's a.
I say let
So
Bernie.
why? So why did he lose? Why did he
Bernie's
lose
a
the
Democratic
primaries?
reformist.
Because
These are
he threatened the Democratic
No, the
elite
reason he lost the
class, or the
party.
established class.
Okay, the reason he lost the party without being conspiratorial or without going into that kind of politics, and I was a Bernie bro.
Yeah.
The reason he lost is because Hillary Clinton does have the name recognition. She did have all the party connections. She did have all the money. She had all the advertising revenue, all that kind of stuff. But the fact that Bernie got as close as he did, regardless of that and media bias, the fact he got so close should have been a warning to Democrats that they needed to switch it up. But she still won by 3 million
100%.
votes. She just didn't win the Electoral College. She still won. So, I mean, that's their big miscalculation was that. But Bernie Sanders, that should have been a sign. Like, she was destined to be the candidate. Obama, actually, by the way, especially after Obama beat her, she was supposed to be the ordained candidate in 2008. But Obama was just that good that she ended up losing. And then that was happening again to her in 2016. So when that happened again, they were shutting it down right away. She used every power that she could to make sure the media would present him negatively, to show the super delegates and all that kind of stuff. But Bernie did get a lot of reforms in the party and stuff.
Yeah, so this is where I think like there's an asymmetry between the left and the right, because like the name recognition thing would never work for the right. It feels like having the connections with other politicians would never, being ordained or being destined in some way wouldn't work for the right. Like if Liz Cheney ran,
we had Bush.
I don't think, and Jeb Bush, yeah.
No, but George Bush won after his dad
Bush.
did. George Bush won after his dad, and Jeb Bush probably did bad because of his brother, but Jeb Bush was still governor of Florida, right?
Yeah.
And even
So
then,
they were all
what I'm saying is, if we had Liz Cheney running in 2016 against Trump in the primary, I don't know if the name recognition and the connections and the past in politics would have been enough for that to overcome Trump's rhetoric and
a
his
huge
poll.
point to consider is that populism on the left isn't as successful because it's hard to get people on the left to be that pessimistic about America. It's easier for Republicans, especially when Republicans historically, their big platform is denying Democrats, saying no to Democrats. Democrats want to build big projects. Republicans want to cut the budget and cut taxes. So like it's easy for Republicans because they don't need to present much more than like a narrative or a future. So Trump, like that negative populism Trump used would not have worked for Democrats. They had a lot of other social issues they cared about.
No, I think left populism is less effective than right populism because left populism leads people to not vote. Disillusionment with the institution on the left just leads to political disengagement, while on the right it leads to increased political engagement.
Think about the other
but
big
I do
issue
agree with you.
is that the right-wing populism helps the very rich. Like right-wing populism helps the rich. It cuts down government. It kills like government regulations and corruption. Anti-corruption is always killed whenever there's like a far right-winger that's successful. So like when you have a far left-winger, they usually lose, by the way, because there's eras of populism. You can look in history in general. There's going to be some type of revolution, left or right. But typically, the right wing wins because the capital class or the private class goes with them. The same thing happened, by the way, recently with Russia, with Putin. Putin made a deal with all the private oligarchs in Russia. The deal was essentially, you let me get all this political power, own the system. I will not regulate any of your businesses at all. So the Russian oligarchy, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, was formed in a similar way. And because of the capital class choose and the capital the capital stakeholders, the top stakeholders, the top owners in the society choosing, like we'd rather have like Trump versus Bernie, because Bernie wants to push for higher taxes and Trump wants to let us do whatever we want with like Trump wants to do another Patriot Act or whatever, and he wants to give us all the information for AI and all the funding we want.
I'm skeptical about the effect that funding and interest groups have on presidential elections.
You don't think that changes the coverage that candidates get when someone is advocating to tax the people who are doing the coverage? Or like when Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post, you don't think that affects their coverage of someone who talks about hating billionaires?
Up to a certain extent, but if a candidate gets as popular as Bernie and starts using their own platform to disseminate information about themselves, I'm not sure how much like mean articles by
But I'm
other
saying
people,
that's
especially
why
if we're talking
Trump did
about creating
better.
populist sentiment.
But that's why the pushback against Trump was not nearly as strong as the pushback against Bernie, because the pushback against Trump was a lot lighter, because his policies were basically George Bush Part 2. Like other than the war in Iraq, like his policies were George Bush Part 2.
The
It was a lot lighter
pushback
for
against Trump the pushback against Trump was super strong. It was just that he fed off of that. Because the way right-wing populism operates is that, yeah, if the institution is saying bad stuff about our candidate, that's good for our candidate. I think the issue, right, is that people who would have supported Bernie, if they hear like a news article that's shitting on Bernie, I mean, if your argument is that right-wing populism and left-wing populism operate in similar ways, then it should be the same for Bernie. People making bad
Bernie's
arguments
not a
about
true
him, the
populist,
institution.
though. That's different. Well, he's not a he's a reformist. Trump's a revolutionary populist. Bernie's not. Like Bernie wanted to reform the current system to have a new Bill of Rights as a growth on the like New Deal. Trump wanted to fully just like reestablish what America means and the Constitution and all that kind of stuff. So like Bernie was not seeking to topple the government or anything or bypass the Constitution.
In 2016, that wasn't the case. Trump didn't run on getting rid of amendments or revoking
But
birthright citizenship.
People, when I ask
that.
people why they voted for him, a lot of the times it's just like he's different and he's gonna be a wrecking ball. Like that's one of the biggest things they liked about him. But Bernie was not willing to do that. Like Bernie, it's easier to do so when your voter base, like, do you realize populism is easier for the right when their voter base can vote off of just being mad about pronouns. It's a lot more complicated to get that kind of like anger and support on the left. It just is more complicated to go for voter bases that are less susceptible to like cultism or like that type of following. Like they don't have that big base of, it's almost the opposite. It's harder. Like if Bernie could have just said pronouns and illegal immigrants the entire campaign, it would have been easy for him. But the Republican issues are very emotional, so it's easier for Trump.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not the way that you attract or create populist sentiment among the right it seems to be very different from the way that you would do that in the left.
It's so much easier, dude. It's so easy.
It is, and so the idea that the left just has to mirror the right's rhetoric more, but like sans lying, I'm not sure that's going to be helpful.
Well, I don't agree with that.
Well, they can't, because as soon as Bernie started attacking the billionaire class, that's when they got on his shit.
I mean, he's been doing that.
Didn't like.
The moment he was about to win, the moment he was about to win, they just wanted they did support Hillary. But she's in trend. It makes sense. Bernie's an independent. It makes sense that Hillary would have more party connections. Bernie actually did pretty good with party connections, considering being like an independent and not actually being a Democrat. But if he was a Democrat his entire life, it probably would have helped him.
I actually was listening to him, and I would consider voting for him. Just wanted to hear more. The way I vote is, I go, all right. I do. Honestly, I do. I don't. But unfortunately, I don't like how he's kind of. I don't know the right word for this, but well, he's kind of coward. He's kind of like started to play ball. Oh well, it's not even that. It's the fact that he's playing ball. He's not his true self anymore. He's just aligned himself as a Democrat.
Or Trump really is that bad, and Trump's like he literally had like the 5 richest men in the world in global history on front stage at the inauguration, and Bernie sees that, and he's like, Bernie's saying the oligarchy has officially taken over. Trump is the opposite direction of Bernie. That's why Bernie's supporting Democrats, because Bernie's not a revolutionary. He doesn't want to see the government collapse. He wants to see it get better. So like he's not gonna push for he was gonna support Hillary, Biden, Kamala, and he was able to be really successful, by the way. Bernie, if you hear him talk about Biden, he talks about him in the highest praise possible, because Biden adopted a lot of Bernie's domestic agenda with his infrastructure, the inflation reduction, and the chips and science. Like Bernie had his hands all over that kind of legislation.
I think, too. I would say even some social issues too.
Well, Bernie wasn't that big on social issues. He was always more of an economic guy. He got more like progressive on social issues, more so because it was demanded from the party. But he didn't really talk that much about it. He was always like pro-gay and all that kind of stuff. But he wasn't like, he was anti-immigration, for example, because he thought that hurt union wages. He was like he was more hands off when it comes to guns, because that was more of a topic in Vermont at one period. Then he went harder on guns once he became a Democratic candidate. So like, yeah.
Real quick, I don't want to derail the conversation, but I'm gonna head out here right now. So I just wanted to real quick, Jola. So I read the full CENTCOM report, and it looks like the reason, it looks like they did ID they saw the bomber. Multiple reports from Marines saw the bomber, but the reason they didn't fire on him, and I didn't know this, was because they took a picture of him and the facial recognition didn't add up with the picture that they had of the bomber. So yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah, I'm gonna head out now. I'll see you.
All right, have a good one. DJ and RJ.
Oh no, the Battle of the Jays. I'll start by saying I'm the superior Jay. And I think to anyone watching, it's pretty clear why. It's time for your rebuttal. Immediate concession. All right.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad. I concede too.
There you go. Sportsmanship.
There you go. Yep.
No, I agree with Zizek. I think the left used to be the party of revolutionary and anti-establishment sentiment, and now the right has become that party. So the left needs to take up the position that the right used to hold. The left needs to become the party of common sense and rule of law. I think that's the most effective way to proceed. And there are obviously ways to. Yeah, go ahead.
Constitutional progressivism.
I would just like to see the left worry about themselves, and just don't even worry about what the right's doing. Just worry about what the left needs to do, and then just go with that. Like I know one time you dogged on me for like liking Jimmy Dore, but whatever we want to call me. The reason I actually, I knew him from the Young Turks, but the reason I started watching him is because he was basically policing his own side. And I was like, that's interesting because I don't see too many, or I don't know of too many people that were doing that, right? And it's like, oh, that's a different perspective. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't like Trump. But let me tell you what I don't like about my party. It's like, okay.
He hates Democrats more than he hates Republicans, though. That's why I don't like Jimmy Dore, because he's like a right winger now. He's
Really?
anti-vax. He was a COVID denier. Like, he left the left.
mean, he might have changed
He's one of the good
positions because of
progressives.
money.
He's one of the good ones.
Well, I think you have to check yourselves because
I don't
the
think
right
that's true,
can't
because
get too
Republicans never
strong.
check themselves at all, and it works for them.
No,
like,
and that's
just
why the
being
left
confident
needs
and
to,
aggressive.
because like if the left doesn't, the right's just gonna keep like we should never in this country have like too many consecutive years of a presidency or getting the House and the Senate on one side or the other too often, because they're just gonna run away with it, either side. Like
I don't.
just,
When our conversations are
root
based
for
in
the
like fake reality, though, I don't know what we talk about, because Trump right now, he pulled us out of the World Health Organization, out of Paris Climate Accord. He's probably gonna pull out of NATO, I'm assuming. He's shutting down our communications of all our health agencies. He is threatening to invade Mexico by designating Taliban as a terrorist organization. He threatened to invade Panama. Greenland. It's like when we have all these topics and you say the left should reevaluate, I think the American voters need to stop being lied to about a lot of these topics. Like when Trump says he saved Obamacare, there needs to be a strong pushback. And I blame Democrats for that, because it probably shouldn't be the moderator's job to like fact check candidates, but the Democrats should be ready. Like they go to law school for all this time. They have Trump in front of them. They should be able to say, like, you did not save Obamacare. You tried removing it. Or like you cut Social Security with every single budget. Why did Harris or Walz not say that one single time? It's insane they did not come ready with that, ammunition or those verbal punches ready. But it's probably the consultants they work with preparing them for the fight. And if you have a bad trainer, then the results are not going to be that great either. But the self-reflection part, they need to self-reflect, and as far as like, they need to give up on the leadership of the party and just let the people who are smart and good at politics. It's about being good at being like motivational, good at being, getting influence. Because there's no logical reason why someone would support Bernie and Trump, but other than like you trust that they're being genuine, or you share their anger at something, whatever that anger is focused at. There's no like logical policy or ideological reason why you'd support both of them.
Yeah, like Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi don't do anything for me. Their attitudes, fuck their policies. Just like if I'm going based on, because I'm all about fields, right? Vibes. Just even for that alone, like they don't do it for me. Like what Lindsey Graham? Oh, fuck that guy. Like no, like I'm as a voter, I'm gettable. But you got to get me. You got to work for it. And if I don't feel like you're working for it, then it's like, all right, well, I'm going to go over here, which is what I can tolerate, because I think the American voter only has so much time, so much patience and ability to do research that they're just like, well, I don't have time to do any of that. I'm just going to go with whatever sounds best. And whether that's the truth or not, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I know too many Americans who are like
decision.
saying that and still going with irrational things. I mean, people are going to see the consequences. If Trump is going to do all the, I mean, he already did do a lot of stuff that's going to shake things up in a pretty bad way. He got rid of like labor protections for workers in general. He got rid of contract protections for workers that they can negotiate through executive order. That LBJ did, like pro labor reform. Like he's doing a lot of really, really bad stuff, like pardoning the violent offenders from January 6th. Like he's doing a lot of really terrible things already. And he's the egg prices are predicted to be like $10 a dozen. So I mean, if Americans complained about that and they don't judge Trump badly for not taking care of the bird flu or something, then I have to just like reevaluate, because if Americans are not going to keep the same standard, then I have to just imagine like, okay, well, when you said this about Biden, you were just like being political. You didn't care about egg prices. You didn't care about groceries. You just cared about like pronouns and defeating wokeism. That's like the number one thing I hear from conservatives. I never hear policy from conservatives. Or if we talk about policy, they end up agreeing with like Obama's policies more than Trump's. Like taxing the wealthy more is generally a popular thing. Like funding Social Security is generally pretty popular. Supporting unions is popular. So they support like Democrats more on policy that Americans do in general. Like Americans will vote against Democrats and vote for $15 minimum wage. I know you've seen those bills pass through states. Or even if those laws don't pass, they'll get like 57% of the vote, but they need 60 to pass in states. So like Democratic policies are very popular, but their social approach is not. And the issue is when Kamala talks about trans stuff or like whatever it is, they are not equipped. Somehow they have all the resources in the world, but they are not good politicians. They should be able to advocate for issues aggressively. And if they don't, then Trump is going to be able to say that kids are going and getting sex change surgeries at school and coming back a different gender every day when that's not happening literally anywhere. And he can get away with it because Democrats are too scared to they're too scared to have any counter narrative. They just want to say like, well, if the voters pick this, they pick it. I'm not going to even try to stop them. Like they need to actually care. They need people who actually care.
Do you think they kind of dug their own grave in that sense too? Like they're the reason that happened? It's because they were pushing social agendas that no one liked.
See, you saying social
Trump
agenda just shows that you're
that.
biased in general. Like it's just like they're not pushing a social agenda. They're pushing civil rights for a group, and the only part of that civil rights, the only part of that demographic that people see is the radical blue-haired feminist version of it. They never actually like see in general, how these different policies affect women or trans people or whoever when it comes to like abortion laws or when it comes to like just civil liberties for people that are
but that would be but that would also be a deep dive into actually believing it. Like
but
that
there's not a
conversation we had weeks
belief.
ago. Well, no, but for you, it's not. For somebody like me, it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I base mine off of facts. Like I base mine off the idea that like every person is born with female characteristics until like 7 weeks. Every person is born with female body parts. Like our balls are also ovaries. They just take different shifts when we're developing as a fetus. So it makes sense that along that process of us like having different hormones and our bodies like being like developed in different ways, it makes sense that some people would have an experience where they feel like they're the wrong brain in the wrong body. So it just makes sense scientifically and psychologically. But people on the right typically just say it's a agenda or a mental disorder, or they're teaching children this, and that's anti-fact, that's anti-science. But the left does not know how to message on this. Even just saying what I just said, I never heard a Democrat say that, and it's pathetic. And Democrats need to.
Well, I think because we've never seen it talked about and put in our faces like on TV and in social media in such a way.
But
ever,
you could, but
right?
but do you see how that's a
Too
problem
much
though when you
too
say put it in
soon.
our faces? But if it's too, you're just admitting if it's too much too soon, you're just admitting that you're uncomfortable, and that's fine being uncomfortable. But the right wing
Yeah.
can't say we're based on fact and based all their opinions
I
off
always
of just
told-
like it's too soon for this, you know. But you're saying
Right,
like
but
you
I
understand how
always
people
said-
work, like that's fine. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying like most right wingers call in, what is a woman? What is a woman? As if they like, oh yeah, Felix, call in right now with your laughing emojis. Call in, dumbass.
Well, it's like I've always said, like, you want me to get behind something, at least make me think, like, let me come to that conclusion on my own. You know,
I
like,
agree with that. So like,
gradually,
yeah,
yeah, like
you don't
gradually let me
command
get
people
into it.
to
Just
because people
don't
aren't
tell-
gonna.
And yes, and I'm being honest here, like that's how I felt. Like either you believe in this, or basically f off. There's like there's no in between, and it's like personally. I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah, okay,
Like, you can't
but
make
also
me
you cannot be
believe that.
mad.
Let me,
I'm just
let me
saying
make it my idea.
when
You
you
know what I
have
mean?
an
Like, make-
if you're
yeah.
gonna
Go
admit
ahead, go ahead.
that you just can't be mad when I say that I think most Americans have oppositional defiancy disorder where they just don't want to agree with what liberals say sometimes just because liberals appear to be a lot of insecurity I see from conservatives is that liberals come in with the textbook. They say, here's the facts, here's the data. And I see it, by the way, when they're advocating for trans issues. Here's the data, here's the data, here's the data. You're a dumbass, you're evil, bye. And it is something that people don't understand. So you probably should reach people from that perspective. And that might mean on the left talking to people who have offensive opinions. And maybe they have bigoted opinions or wrong opinions. That happened with black people, that happened with women, that happened with gay people. The same exact accusations of the agenda being pushed and it's not natural and we need to fix it in them and it's a mentalist. That was all said about gay people. And now the exact arguments are used for trans people, but we need to understand that people are starting at a certain perspective, and we have to know what the narratives are on the other side, and there needs to be a counter narrative to have that understanding, especially because trans people make up such a small percent of the population. You can go through like a random town in the Midwest and talk to every person, and it'll take you like weeks to find to find someone who's trans. Like, and trans athletes make up like 0.00025% of sports. But like I said before, it's also like if if the right is going to approach every issue as if trans people are groomers, then the left feels like they need to defend every trans topic, even if it is a conversation on sports. And the left will think, for example, like, and Americans, I understand they think differently, but the left views it as these are civil rights. You're talking about sports because you think little Johnny's going to be a D1 football player and he's 5'7" and 120, and it's like it's just not going to happen. But that's how the left views it. But they don't see how important like sports are to Americans, and they have to be able to deal with that nuance and deal with that like irrationality to some extent. And also because it is complicated. It's complicated stuff. Like not everyone's going to be able to like deeply understand the science of like how a embryo develops into a fetus and then gets gender characteristics or sex characteristics that turn into gender characteristics once they're born and put into like human society. Like it's a combination of social, cultural, physiological. It's all the most complicated topics put into one. So it's really hard.
I feel, and I also feel like we got hit from like every different angle.
Hayden. No shot. You said testicles are ovaries. This is what I freaking mean. You guys know nothing about how anything works. Like, yes, they literally are. Google it. The seam on your ball sack, that is from the female characteristics that we had before we were like developed as male, as like in the womb. Like that is from that. Look up the ovaries. Look up it's literally the same thing, but with different hormones influencing it through development. Like the fact that someone would say that so confidently when that's a fact is insane. And then they'll talk about something else like it's a fact. Like, what is a woman? Like, seriously, dude. Crazy. Look up a picture of ovaries, by the way. Ovaries look like balls. Like, if you look. I feel like that could be. See, if Democrats simply use that argument, look up ovaries, dude. Ovaries look like balls. That'd be such a more effective, like.
People say pee is stored in the balls. That's false. Obviously, baby is stored in the balls. I don't know if you were looking at chat, Jola, but you've seen the new White House definition of the word male, right?
Yeah, they don't they define male in the period There's a part of an executive order that defines male in the period that you still have female characteristics, or something like that.
Yeah, I got the quote is male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell. Which is just nobody. So
It's a new one.
Well, that'd be they would argue chromosomes, right?
I guess so. But even then, like, never mind.
That
It's
kind of
not.
defeats the argument.
I would
of,
get into the
girl
details
means,
of the question.
Girl means no penis, guy means penis. That would get in the way of that argument. Carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I would get into the details of like what chromosomes mean relative to your phenotype, but it's not. Conservatives are not particularly fond of details. But yeah, all trans women are actually detransitioners. They were born as women and then they transitioned in the womb to be men, and they're just detransitioning back to source, if you will.
Well, the White House made every U.S. citizen a female legally. If you go by biology and what they define it as, we're all female.
Exactly. So all men are trans. So no women are trans. Not even trans women.
Does every person have their own gender?
I don't know. I think so. You know, I'm a philosophy major, so if all goes well, I'll be paid to bullshit about these types of questions for the rest of my life. But you know, gender is usually defined in terms of certain like archetypes or stereotypes, right? So, you know, displaying certain secondary sex characteristics, having a certain pitch in your voice, where your body hair grows and doesn't grow. These aren't things that are unique to every individual. In a certain sense, they are, right? Like, not everybody
In a general
grows.
sense.
Yeah, no two people will grow hair in the exact same spots, right? Like there's technically maybe, you know, one square millimeter of each person's body where nobody else has grown a hair. But we don't define gender in terms that are that specific. We define them more generally. So like if you have hair anywhere naturally growing, you know, on your chin or in the area where it would grow a beard, right? Or to the extent that it would grow, you know, what we commonly see as a full beard, that would be a masculine characteristic. So we would have to redefine gender in more specific terms in order to make gender a thing that differs from person to person. Right now, we define it generally in a way that, you know, doesn't really allow for that. So the answer would be no right now.
True.
Um,
Are you actually in philosophy?
yeah, unfortunately.
Well, the concept of gender and how we assign it is purely for social utility. So you'd have to argue for like neopronouns to justify those. I know it's going to be illegal to say that word soon. But to justify neopronouns, you probably need to justify their utility. And I've met people, by the way, who change their pronouns every single day, and even within conversations. And that's like 1% of, not even 1%, that's like one person. But I did meet them. But I don't agree with like neopronouns, because I don't think they have utility. I think they actively hurt, especially right now, they actively hurt the trans movement and how we understand gender in society. It also causes discomfort for a lot of trans people too, because trans people, the two social categories do exist for a reason. But also we have non-binary for someone that doesn't want to be like considered woman or man, but also like a lot of trans people do want to be considered woman or man. You know what I mean? So.
Sure. I think so. I'm not sure I entirely agree that gender categories arise because of utility. I think they come about through something called mimesis, which is when you make memes. It's when you make memes. No, it's mimetic in that originally gender was just a marker for a group of characteristics that is generally exhibited by one or the other sex. So, you know, it's clear that like our common descriptions of things as masculine or feminine are defined by whether we most commonly see them exhibited by males or females. The thing with the reason we have a sex gender distinction is because some people, trans people, exhibit mostly phenotypically masculine characteristics, i.e., mostly traits that we would see commonly exhibited on females, despite being XY. Despite being biologically male, they exhibit mostly traits that we would see commonly exhibited by females. And so this would be where, like, what was originally a marker for a person's biological sex, it becomes detached from it. It becomes its own sort of category. I'm not sure if that makes sense at all, but it doesn't matter.
The issue really that we have right now is for people to become more intellectual and to take a lot of note into these topics. There needs to be a reason that's compelling enough for them to really venture into it and to dedicate time to understanding it. And right now, America is, I do believe that old fascist quote, you know, good times create weak men. I've said before,
Weak
that's
men
a true
create
quote.
hard men.
Yeah, but like the easy times create the fascists too. Whenever like we like in America right now, like the fact people can even afford to vote on pronouns means like things are pretty decent. For decent. Oh wow. Oh, here's a Substack about Destiny. Let's see.
Oh, there's more important things to talk about.
When he was 19, when she was 19.
It's weird. How old is Destiny?
36 now?
Yeah, it's kind of weird to be that age to be interested in someone that young.
So that was 5 years ago. He would have been 31. She would be 19. I think.
It's not so much the age difference. It's like the, you know, if you use that same age gap and just moved everybody up 10 years, obviously it would be different, right? But 31, they're 19. They were
Or
just
down 10
out of
years.
high school.
Down 10 years would be really bad too.
Oh yeah.
Well,
okay, Captain Obvious.
the further down you move, the more the difference makes a difference.
Really? Yeah.
Because that's how percentages work.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, and if I was 31, I wouldn't be looking at a 19-year-old. Like, I'm 42. I don't even look at 20. I don't look at 20-something-year-olds.
If you're a 19-year-old boy and your mom's friend, you know, is
Ooh.
divorced and lonely, what are the ethics of that?
This is really interesting.
How hot is she?
Okay, wait. There's
Say
a
that
point.
again?
There's a whole. This is really. Don't. Not what I'm. That's a. No. Bad.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We're live.
Go ahead.
There's a portion in this. There's a portion in the Substack from the person that's suing Destiny that says, "I have been told a court case like this can cost tens of thousands of dollars. I'm terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing Hassan as if for fun, and Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. Yeah. If Destiny did this, definitely really terrible. But also this person definitely does not like Destiny if she knows the lore behind. If she has a whole paragraph directed about Hassan, it's really interesting. And also she does bring up the Joe Rogan of the left comment, and crossing sexual boundaries, violating consent, putting women's well-being and safety at risk. She cites Destiny's interviews with potential DNC chairs with Marianne Williamson or Martin O'Malley, who have no idea what he's done. Martin O'Malley's a big one because he's been around, you know, long time, and he's actually pretty high up in the party. Brings up Destiny trying to have an interview with Zelensky. I didn't know about that. Is he trying to have an interview with Zelensky? I can't be helped but be filled with fear that Destiny might continue to succeed. Despite facing no repercussions for his actions, if the Democratic Party wishes to succeed in the future, it cannot be a party that accepts the sexual exploitation of women. It cannot be a party that allows men like Destiny to break into the mainstream. For allowing him to access such spaces would be a direct endorsement of his behavior. I've been told the payout might not be worthy. I would do this privately. Violated federal law. I am terrified. He violated my consent. I'm terrified. Evidence log. Oh. Interesting. Destiny said, ugh, there shouldn't be no. I'm so sorry. There's literally no excuse. I'd have phone convos with this person. They're fairly close to me. It's worthless to say at this point, but I'm super sorry. There's literally no excuse. I won't say or confirm anything about them. If there's any particular action or thing I can do, just let me know. So that's from November 29th, where Destiny's saying there's no excuse for this. It was really bad. And apologizing to her. So that's, Destiny admitting some type of wrongdoing, of course. Destiny downplaying the concerns. The person says it's more complicated than that. I feel like there's no justice for what's been done. I feel like there's no justice. I feel like people for the rest of my life are going to try and send it to my family or workplace or wherever I go. I feel extremely violated with how so many people saw me not consensually in a vulnerable position. I feel like people are always going to use this as proof that I slept my way to whatever achievement I garner. Is she a content creator? I feel like it's evidence that everything would be better.
She was friends with Destiny, and yeah, I'm not sure if I think she was doing something else at the time as well and creating content on the side, like ancillary to her other career goals. I'm not sure though.
Interesting. So Destiny responded to that with, I think the number of people who know or keep up with it enough to go after you is probably almost zero. I think people hate others involved. Me, way more. Lauren, Nick, LOL, way more, and overshadows everything a lot more. As far as any achievements or anything like that, the majority of the work and stuff you've done is completely independent of me anyways. So the only people who would say anything like that are people who would have said shit like that anyway and aren't worth the time. Let me see.
It doesn't excuse any of the behavior, but I feel like
she's within her legal right, but she definitely wants it to be a public thing. If she's saying like her big concern is like getting harassed for it, and having the picture shared, and obviously federal law being violated, definitely is really interesting.
I understand wanting to bring it in the public. I think though definitely. For like, if your desire is not to be harassed about it, then it might be unpragmatic.
But she said the court, there's no realistic way the court would grant me anonymity, so she could not have been anonymous. How does that even work with being anonymous for a court case? I don't even know.
You have to be on 4chan to be anonymous.
Okay. He will do this again unless if he faces justice. I would yeah, I could definitely see that being a really bad thing. Are people saying that he is a abuser, or that because if he shared exploitative content, that's really bad. But also I could see him doing this, not in the right mind as well, which is also really bad still, regardless. But
yeah.
Still, if the accusations are that he is a predator, you would need to see more information about that. Although you would say that this is obviously like sharing that without someone's consent is obviously terrible.
Yeah, I think the only viable thing that might move the needle on this, not to use election terms, would be like if there's some conversation where Destiny could be reasonably thought to interpret that conversation as being as Pixie giving consent. to share the videos.
I didn't see any
Where there's
conversations from like the time that when were they going to be shared? Like the leak came at a different time from when they were shared, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure when they were shared, and I think Destiny made a Reddit post statement thing about it, but I don't. I think most. I
Yeah, he
think he
needs self
said
control.
he's not going to share much because it's in litigation right now.
There's a thing of him offering to pay bills too. It sounds super lame, and I don't want to imply anything by saying giving you money helps anything, go away or fix anything. But if you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help with, I can at the very least help chip in and help with any of that.
That's not good.
So it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying and getting through this. So that's December 12th, 2 weeks later, saying at 2 a.m. saying I will help pay for stuff to help you get over the stress while you're worrying and going through this.
He just passively aggressively bribed her.
I think there's another screenshot where he's talking to a mutual friend of theirs, where he talks about how it would seem shitty to do that, and says he's apprehensive about doing it because he doesn't want it to come off as a bribe. The mutual friend suggests that he offer anyway. So I'm not, I don't know.
That's why I want to see everything too. That's why I do want to see everything, because I'm not just gonna, innocent until proven guilty. But yeah, obviously, yeah, it's not you can't.
Did you just say innocent until proven guilty?
Guilty until proven innocent, man.
Exactly. No. Innocent until preponderance of evidence. Yeah.
It also seems like he's not asking for money, right?
No, she's not.
I think she was. Yeah. No, I think she requested. I think she requested. She said something along the lines of wanting to request that he pay for her to go through law school, but thinking that he would say no. I guess it was somewhere between 500K and $1 million that she was considering, requested, but thought would that she wouldn't receive, and so decided to pursue a legal path because of that.
So it either comes down to she showed him this pictures and he leaked them, right? Is what we're saying. But
he sent them privately to another person and then got leaked from that other person, either being hacked or leaking it themselves.
Yeah. So she's either regretting some of her decisions and said, I could run with it and do this, right? Or she's really genuinely upset. And it's really hard to prove which way.
In a legal sense, if Destiny could not prove that he got consent, if he could not prove he got consent, that would be against the federal law, would it be?
I'm not sure whether it's Florida or federal, but I would imagine it's pursued in a state court.
Accusations he was secretly recording women in his own home without their knowledge.
Okay, I'm not sure.
That's an accusation.
Where that comes from.
Destiny says, "I do not believe I have violated any laws." That's in quotes, though. Secretly record.
He could also have indoor security cameras and just not tell people about it.
I'm not sure there's any reason we have to believe that that was happening, but
then there's Cherry.
I mean, it's anything's possible.
Cherry's saying stuff about that too.
Oh.
Cherry's the second person that said that their pictures or whatever or their recordings were shared by Destiny, and they did not give Destiny consent to share it. That's what she said.
Yeah, I think that. No, I think it's pretty much been admitted by Destiny that he shared the photos or videos to somebody without her consent, but that he was not the one to disseminate it or leak it publicly. Which doesn't make it much better, but it's obviously still immoral and probably illegal. But I think there is some relevant difference in how immoral it is depending on whether he was the one who leaked them or, disseminated them publicly.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking
If
about
the answer to that is no, it's
legality of it too.
But I wonder, do you have to have consent if somebody if somebody gives you those pictures for you, right?
You can't share
It's-
those.
it sounds
That's
kinda-
still revenge porn, right? I think so.
Not, yeah, I mean, I know what that is, but
You
I
have
don't.
to say
right?
like
I don't know what like.
you'd have to say like we did this and I give you consent to show it to other people. I'd imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you'd have to prove that too, right? You'd
Expectation
have to
of
prove that
privacy, intimate photos would be covered because you need to get consent. You can't just say like, because if you don't get that consent from them, then you don't have the right to do that. And even that's shaky. Even if you do get consent, depending on because you have to argue like how was it recorded? Is there proof that the recording was done consensually? And then do you have consent from that person to like? Because some people are like
At
some
what
people are
point
into
do they
that,
take
but
it back? Well, what point did they take that consent back?
well, that's a different conversation. If you can
Yeah.
take it,
Well-
like if you give someone photos and you say, "Hey, by the way," if you're with someone one night and you say you can share these with your friends because you think it's like, 'cause some people are into something like that, but also you say the next day, "Hey, I thought it over. Please don't share those photos." Then
That
I
would
would
be
probably
different,
say,
yeah.
no, I'd probably say, yeah, like obviously that'd be you withdrawing consent. But if someone like shared them in that gap, then that'd be a interesting question. But yeah, it's really about exposing privacy and is intentionality because revenge would be to get like intentionally spreading it. Is that something else if you
You're, like,
intentionally spread it to
publishing
cause
them?
harm? Yeah, like or like sharing it to someone to cause harm, or sharing it to someone that you like let's say you date someone and you show it to someone that you date now. Is that revenge?
Yeah, I'm not sure like if there's a difference in statute or law, but I think there's probably a morally relevant difference. Both are bad, but I think it's probably worse if you're sharing it with the express intent of it getting leaked or harming the person that you're exposing those videos of.
Let's make it easy. You are all men. You do not own. Doesn't make you do not own. Doesn't make sense now. No, we're talking about because like by the way, it is possible for a man to not give consent. Like we're talking about just the basic tenets of consent in these relationships.
I don't know, Jola. I don't know.
Men, and I always talk about how much I hate men, so you should know that if you watch my channel. Whenever I talk about trans people, I say how much I hate men, cis men. I love all men.
That's why trans women transition. They just hate men so much.
Permission required to post. Well, is it considered? That's my main question. Like, the corn word, is that for public posting or is that just in general? Like,
I always thought it was public. Like if revenge, like are you talking about revenge porn?
You're
yeah,
supposed to say the vegetable.
corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Revenge corn, just like the band. Yeah, I always thought it would be considered that if you did it publicly. Like I have these corn pictures, and I'm just gonna show everybody it. But what if you were to, instead of publish it, show it to people that are close to them? That because then that would be a type of revenge corn.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like showing it to someone, I'm sure is different from distributing it. Like if you show someone your phone, it's different from sending them that and giving them the physical copy of something. But it would still both be illegal,
Yeah.
I assume, and immoral. There's no reason to have any actual opinions on this stuff. Like we're talking broadly about these laws in hypothetical scenarios, and it does matter too, because that's all the standards for this stuff is all over the place with different states, and especially with like celebrities that do things have different standards from people, and obviously men get away with a lot still, and the law enforcement going after cases is not always reliable in terms of assault. But we're talking about like consensual relationships where someone overshares or shares without consent. That's the hypotheticals we're talking about. So even like this case right here, we're not even discussing this because I would wait until actual information comes out, or like if there's a lawsuit, to have any opinions on it.
like I said, there are other topics.
I got.
What kind of content
We have
does she
many
do?
we have many issues to discuss.
She's more of a Twitch.
Hi
I think
guys.
she went on.
I don't know if you've been able to tell, but I'm
I don't
pretty
know if
sick
you know,
right
like
now.
I think it's called the Whatever Podcast.
Oh yeah, the Whatever podcast.
Oh, I know what you mean.
I think she's been on one of those. I
Dot.
think with Charlie Kirk or someone like that.
That actually sounds.
So
pretty
she
sweet.
was
It's a sick joke and talking.
I think she at least some of her content was in the general area of political stuff, but I'm not sure. Apparently,
She has 10,000 followers on Twitch and 2,000 subs on YouTube. That's interesting that she said about her success, because I feel like I thought I would have. Oh,
find where the
she's on the
success is.
podcasts. No. Like, I mean, those fine numbers. I'm just trying to see like where she's popular at. And she was on this podcast, the Whatever. Was she on Fresh and Fit too?
Women don't understand that men don't.
With that logic.
Oh yeah, she was.
maybe.
She was on Fresh and Fit. Yeah, she was. But her shorts on Fresh and Fit don't get that many. I just never saw them before, so I don't know. I don't know. What she
yeah,
does.
I think both of those podcasts don't like they bring on women who are either sex workers or are pro sex work in some way, but I don't think it's a requirement that you be super popular or well known.
She has a video.
It's a very red pill podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would be the point of bringing on women who have platforms of their own and can actually defend their opinions? That would be completely antithetical to the
it's
whole
like,
point of the podcast.
It makes sense. Like, you find people that have like between like 10,000 and 50,000 subscribers or viewers or followers, and that person is like, they're big enough that you know they're media trained and they'll be entertaining, but they're not too huge to like overshadow your show, and they're not too well known to where people like know what they're going into. So I guess it makes sense. And that makes people want to come on the show because it helps their career growth if they do well. I would go on a podcast, not for that, but like in general, just to like grow.
You wouldn't defend yourself as a sex worker on a podcast?
It's just it's hard. Well, I don't. I mean, I probably could work with other people more on videos, to be honest, but I'm growing really fast on my own, so I don't even know if I want to for a lot of things. Unless I really like them.
I would defend you as a sex worker on a podcast.
Okay. Thanks, buddy.
I'm your strongest soldier.
I was thinking about that earlier today, though, because I'm like, I could grow faster working with creators, but I'm like, I don't know. There's some creators I really like that I really enjoy working with, but I'm not trying to force it. Like, I don't really. It's not like a huge focus for me. Oh, $2 from W. Why can't men get pregnant? At Agolf. Why did you super chat me to ask Agolf, one of my mods, a question? Why can't men get pregnant? Why do you not know that? Why would you don't know why men can't get pregnant? Are you weird? What?
The answer is because they don't want to.
Yeah, if men really wanted to, they could. They don't put their mind to it, bro. Listen to Jordan Peterson. Learn how to clean your room, and you can get pregnant. Like, seriously, bro.
You
Grow
gotta
up.
clean your room. Have a steak.
Who said
Eat
that?
some meat.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. That's not bad.
I do impressions. There's a lot about me you guys don't know.
Impressions now.
You should list some stuff that we don't know.
Nope. All right, guys. I'm gonna end the stream before that happens.
He goes, "We're still live. We're still live. We're still live."
All right, fine.
I want to talk to the chat real quick. I hope you guys are having a good night. Thank you for watching. I'm just gonna start. If someone says something stupid to me, I'm saying something stupid back. And I feel like if I have a grown man who calls in and they can't say that like pardoning a cop beater for January 6th is bad, I'm literally just gonna say they're being weak. Like, I know they're gonna like get mad and try to find me, but like in general, I feel like there's no other way to respond to it. I don't know what to say to people that won't even admit. Just like, yeah, if they beat up a cop with a lead pipe, then yeah, I mean, Trump should not have pardoned that person. Like, that's such a basic. Just like, yeah, I don't agree with him on that. You can literally worship him at every other level and just admit, like, yeah, that was not that good. You know, I don't know why. And it's the oppositional defiancy disorder. It's because people build up their entire identity with him. So admitting that he does anything wrong is admitting that their like complete loyalty is wrong as well. So in order to keep their like complete loyalty alive, they need to like keep some type of like facade that he never did anything wrong. That's why they have to say like Trump's always right, because they think they're always right. And if they support Trump, that means they're on the right guy they're on the right guy team.
I actually prefer people who are like clearly Trump sycophants. I prefer them to people who are like Well, I'm a centrist. Like, I have left-wing and right-wing beliefs, but like, I just think Trump is a little better. Like, I think the sycophant thing is more honest. I think there's
Wait,
no person who is a centrist in the real sense of the word that would
dude, a
lean
centrist called
towards
in
Trump.
yesterday, bro. A centrist called in yesterday, and they would not say one bad thing about Trump. They just wanted me to say bad things about Democrats, and I'm like, can you say one bad thing about? He could not. I'm like, you're not a centrist. Like, you can't even say that. Wait, you said someone said that men can't carry babies. How weak are you? Babies are not that heavy, dude. What are you doing wrong? Are you what the? You can't carry babies? You got to get to the weight room, brother. What?
I tried to carry babies. I just keep dropping them.
Shaking shaking MH, bro. Shaking MH. S my head.
Shaking my MH.
SM head.
Ew.
Alright, chat.
Sadomasochistic head.
Okay, point proven. This dude is just another pawn. Austin, calm down. Have a lovely night, okay? Make sure what is your profile picture? Oh no, that guy's a beta male, dude. He has like a e-girl face, and he's flexing really hard. Did you Photoshop that? Yeah, you Photoshopped that. That's crazy. You look cute though. You look cute, brother. You look cute. Can't say anything bad about Democrats? Yeah, Democrats need to kick out all the old people. You can't say that because you'd have to kick out Trump. But oh man, I will sacrifice Bernie to get rid of every old politician if we need to. Although I would say Bernie's an example of like a good representative that could stay without term limits, but I don't even care about. I mean, it's voters. Voters vote in the old people. Voters re-elect them. It's not their fault. Did I just hear a beta male call another dude a beta? Yes. Yes, you did. Takes one to know one, kid. You would not know I'm a beta if you weren't a beta. Belief is funny thing because everyone has an opinion. There's a difference between a belief and an opinion, though. You can have an opinion on fact. A belief does not require fact. You can have a belief on something that's not factual. You can make up a belief. But if you have an opinion that's not based on fact, it is a belief. And if you have a belief that's based on fact, then it's going to be like an educated opinion, most likely. Al Franken? What did Al Franken even do? I forget.
He used to be a comedian. He was on SNL.
Yeah. And then he was a senator, right? But he got
yeah.
Oh, they say he tried to kiss multiple women. 8 women spoken out to say he tried to grope or kiss them. Well, Donald Trump made that cool.
Yeah, I remember that. God, whoever said that's older than me. Go to bed.
Radio host. Interesting. So Al Franken left. Oh, there's pictures of him. There's pictures of Al Franken actually groping someone. So that did happen. Interesting. I did not know there was a picture of it.
I think Newt Gingrich destroyed politics.
I mean, I guess he did. Newt Gingrich is a socialist. All right, good night, guys. Good night stream. Good night stream. Good night stream. Good night stream. Good night. Good night. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Austin, you should call into the show tomorrow. You should call into the show. I gotta go. They're exposing me. What do you people do for fun? Yes, I'm ending my 4-hour stream because of you. My 4-hour stream. I'm only ending it because I'm afraid of you. Oh no. Alright, have a good night, guys. Thank you again. Thank you, Agolf. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, all the mods. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Mornigo. Thank you, Mornigo. Good to see you. My name. Hooperverse. Nice to see you, Hooperverse. Cam, Young Kami, Ross. I had to ran away. I had to go ran away. I had to ran to the store. Ross will be watching one of my videos, by the way. I'll see random comments of Ross in my comments correcting my grammar or saying I used the wrong tense of a word. It's like run, ran, or like then. It was mocking a joking thing to a sleeping female friend on a flight. But that same person came out to say that it was not like she didn't think it was funny, I guess. Interesting. Interesting. You ran so far away. I run so far away. Alright, see you guys. Young Kami, that's my rap name.